Gonna miss you around here, Iris.
Olivia's best optometry technician is going back to school.
Did we get that new frame?
Her eye is already twitching about finding a replacement.
Ugh, this can't keep happening. We're gonna have to cancel appointments.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed assessments. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Take the shortcut to your next great hire. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, Instant Match immediately delivers a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
From the WinBet studio, win with WinBet. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. The Titans and the Bears. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football. Trending now at 104.5 The Zone.
It's 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Titans have claimed offensive lineman Derwin Gray off of waivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Additionally, the team placed linebacker Harold Landry on the reserve COVID list. Gray played in 5 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 2020 season. Haynes King has been named Texas A&M starting quarterback. He replaces the departed Kellen Mond. Imoni Bates, one of the top high school basketball players in the country, announced his commitment to Memphis and Penny Hardaway. Major League Baseball, Dodgers beat the Padres 5-3 in 16 innings. Baltimore snapped a 19-game losing streak by defeating Shohei Ohtani and the Angels 10-6. Locally, the Sounds lost to Gwinnett 5-4 in 10 innings at First Horizon Park. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Now it's time for Jason Martin and Vol for Life Ramon Foster.
Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Together, they are JMart and Ramon on 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. We're excited on this Thursday, 1 week away from Tennessee's opener against Bowling Green. We are 1 week away from local football where win-loss records count in college. And we're getting there in the NFL. Busy show, obviously, on tap today as we welcome an 11-year NFL veteran and Ball for Life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I am Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Today on the program, Josh Heupel, head coach of the Vols, joins us pretty much any second now. He's going to join us very, very early. Steve Palazzolo of Pro Football Focus coming up a bit later. Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports, who we have tried to have all week long. Finally, we're able to find the right time for it with everything that's going on with ESPN and some of the changes they're making on television and radio and just the business of sports continuing to blow up. We always like to chime in and bring him in to tell us what the latest is. All of that is still to come on the program. The fam is live. YouTube is where you can go join the fam, join the listening audience, join the movement. Twitch, Facebook Live. You can also watch their guests appear via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. So what's happening, fellas?
Let's do it. Weekend's Eve, man. Weekend's Eve. Okay, I see you with your Starbucks this morning. Did you do that at home?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Professional barista. These days. Wasn't a lot going on yesterday in sports for the most part, man, but we're here. We got this whole alliance thing, Jay, we didn't really get into.
No, we didn't.
Is it just a playground for foolishness, basically?
I mean, right now it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now it's absolutely nothing. We don't know exactly what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. We actually are a week away from the Vols kicking away, Jay. I'm looking forward to that. I don't care how big they win. I just want to see them play at this point and get a win, man. It has been the longest hangover of UT. I don't know what we want to call it. We literally went from one regime to another, and now we finally get an opportunity to see them live next Thursday. We are officially a week away. If it wasn't because of the show, I think I'd try to make that one, Jay, for sure. That's going to be a late night, early morning.
We had discussed going.
Yeah.
As a show, we had discussed going to that game, and then just you think about when it's over and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we basically, by the time we got back, we just go.
Just right to the studio.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right to the studio. Sleep in the van or something, man. But yeah, I might have my orange tinted glasses on today, man. As Hype is going to join us real soon.
Yeah, he'll pop on with us here any second now.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot to talk about. First off, just the idea of, I mean, you're coaching a large program with a lot of tradition. You're 1 week out from that experience beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel and what the challenges have been and where you've seen improvement, where you still need to see improvement. And, who might be playing quarterback?
Yeah, we at least got to shoot a shot, right?
I'm going to ask.
I'm
going to ask right.
A shot.
First question I asked Josh Heupel after how are you doing is, who's QB1? And if he says Andy Dalton, I'm going to hang up.
He better not say Andy Dalton, man. What school did he go to? Was it Rice?
Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
TCU.
Okay, I knew it was one of those Texas schools, man.
Oh, Coach Mack would have been able to tell you, Frog.
He would have been first one in line.
That's right.
He'd have hit the buzzer. What is that, Family Feud?
Yep.
We should do that.
Survey says 0. That was the way Ray Combs used to say it. The late Ray Combs. Who committed suicide.
Eesh. Hey.
I know that's dark. But
yeah.
The way it is.
Way to go this morning.
I need the extra sip of the pumpkin cream after that.
Is that what you're sipping on this morning?
Sipping on some scissor. And by scissor, I mean 1 pump of sugar-free vanilla with pumpkin spice topping.
It is PSL seasoning. You are full addiction mode already. Injected in my veins. I did see UT had, at one point, number 1 overall prospect was saying Tennessee was in his top 3, and then he reverted back to say he was fully open. That was weird. But recruiting these days, to me,
Wild West, man,
is weird too. So couldn't imagine.
I believe we are ready to roll here.
Yeah.
So we do welcome in the head coach of your Tennessee Volunteers, Josh Heupel, to JMart and Ramon. Josh, how are you this morning?
Doing great. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Coach.
So you're a week away from this experience really beginning. 7 days away. How does it feel being this close to your first game at the helm of Tennessee?
We're absolutely excited to get going. It certainly feels like it's been going here for a while, but we are excited as a coaching staff, as players, as a program to get out on the field and go have a chance to compete again. Guys have put so much time and energy, effort, strain into getting to this point. You think all the way back through off-season, spring ball, summer conditioning, great training camp, and now you get a chance to go play ball. And you guys know when there's a point during training camp where you're like, man, it's time to go hit somebody that wears a different color and find out where you're at. And we're excited to get to that point here next Thursday night.
So I feel like we could start with an easy question, one that's just a simple, solid answer. Who's going to be QB1 next week?
Yeah, I didn't think I would get through the show without that question.
Yes, you knew what you were walking into.
I felt like you were kind of setting me up there. No, we're excited about the guys that have competed and practiced and have grown at that position. Don't have a guy at this point. I do like the group as a whole and appreciate what they've done. And I think our football team that surrounds those guys has great confidence in them as well.
So as what you just said, my follow-up was just going to be, do you have a guy? Like, do you know who the guy is, regardless of whether or not you're willing to tell that publicly yet?
Don't have a guy that we're willing to name at this point. No, do not.
So he knows. No, I'm just going to go ahead, Mo.
Oh, there we go, Coach. The question I have for you, because like I know, the quarterback is supposed to be a guy that changes the temperature of the entire campus. And on and off the field. So for a guy like you that's been called the quarterback whisperer in a sense, what are you expecting from that guy behind center?
I think one of the attributes that they have to have is just being a fearless, fierce, great competitor. Mm-hmm. And that competitiveness drives them in the way that they work every day, not just when they're supposed to be in the building, but when they have time off. And they're the first ones in, the last one out. The players around them inside the locker room see the time and energy and effort that they're putting into preparing the right way during the season, during the off season. That competitive nature is something that can infiltrate your entire football team and transcend to it. And I think that's really important. I think they got to have some energy as far as leadership characteristics and traits, and that people are naturally drawn to them. I've never been around a great one that doesn't have that trait. And ultimately, if they're going to be in some ways the face of your program, they got to be able to represent you the right way. And on the field, the first thing the quarterback's got to do is earn trust. And I say that just because they got the ball in their hands. They're going to be a decision maker. It's not always about making the play. It's about not making the bad play, but playing on an edge and giving yourselves a chance to go make plays too. So, our guys have grown so much. I mean, the fundamentals and the technique are where we were during spring ball to who they are now. Just excited about this group.
We've heard OC Alex Gillespie say that he is uber excited about the running back position. I think when everybody mentions your offense, they always think about passing downfield. Just how important are these running backs to this offense, and what have you in your past done with the running game?
Yeah, it really does start for us with the run game. You look at our run game numbers over the last 5-6 years. It's phenomenal what we've been able to do on the ground and create explosive plays, chew up yards, and stay out of a bunch of third and long situations. The running back position is one where we've created more depth here from where we were in spring ball. It's a group where I think you'll see multiple guys play a lot of football for us. And I like what the offensive line's done too. And just for us, as an entire program, we got to continue to develop the depth here in the early part of the season, but as we go through the season and continue to develop some young guys inside of our system.
Tennessee Volunteers head coach Josh Heupel joining us here on JMart and Ramon this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Coach, how easy has it been for some of the guys that have been there for a few years to adapt to your system, because it really is such a change in terms of aggression, in terms of pace from what they're used to, and how impressed have you been with how they've been able to adapt to it?
Well, we've put a lot of effort into that and learn how to play, during the course of play from the snap and until the whistle's blown. But for us to run efficiently and effectively, there's a lot of nuances once the previous play is over, how we have to operate. I thought we made great strides during the course of spring ball, but we have continued to get better at that. You look at some of the new guys that we brought in during the course of the summer, their transition into the system. They've accelerated their growth pattern here the last half of training camp. Even a young guy like Jalen Hyatt that was out for a certain portion of spring ball, his growth and development here during training camp has been really fun to see. And I think we're in a really good spot. It'll be different playing in that stadium with live bullets there on the other side of the line of scrimmage. But at some point, you got to go play a game and see where you're at. But I am really excited about what they've done in trying to grasp what we do.
Coach, what we all know is usually camp sucks. Like, it really does. Like, all of the stuff that you got to go through in camp, no matter how much team building you had in the spring and in the summer, when you get to camp, it's hard. What have you learned about your guys and putting them through the rigors of day-to-day camp and one-on-ones against each other and just the competition aspect of this team?
Yeah, and we've learned a lot about our football team as we've gone through it. You've heard me say the word accountability quite a bit since I've gotten here, and it's true that our kids clearly understand what the expectations are on and off the field here, what a Tennessee Volunteer looks like. They've really started to rally around that. There's inside of the locker room, I think there's some ownership of it and some peer pressure to do things the right way. We're talking about adversity here just a minute ago, and that to me is what you try to manufacture during training camp a little bit, but it's really hard to replicate what's truly going to happen during the season. I think it's one of the things that we talk about a lot here during the course of summer and during training camp. You try to find windows of opportunity in competitive situations to replicate some of those things. But excited to see, how we handle it next Thursday night. At some point, during course of play, there's always a bad play here, bad play there that you got to respond to. And we got to come together during those moments, not disintegrate.
Coach, was there a moment where you felt like the team really bought into you that's happened over this last few weeks or this last month or so, where maybe guys that were a little skeptical or a little on the fence have really bought in and you feel like are certainly ready to contribute for this program?
Yeah, I don't know if there's one moment during the course of training camp where I felt that. To be honest, I really feel like where we finished spring ball and where we got to, in the middle part of summer was a change inside of our program. There was a lot of buy-in right away. I think, kids today are certainly going to take the approach of sit back, watch, and see if you're going to be consistent in your messaging, but then also in your actions and how you handle positive situations, how you handle negative situations. I think our players have great trust in what we're doing as a program, as a coaching staff, and how we're going to approach every single day, the consistency and the manner in which we're going to do things, and believe in the process that we're going through. And proud of what we've done. Never satisfied as a coach, but excited to get to go chance to play ball with these guys next Thursday.
Coach, we're going to make it real easy for you on the way out here. Who's going to play starting quarterback for you next week?
Yeah. Hey, we're excited to get out there and go play. I know Vol Nation's excited to watch us play, and we'll have a guy that will be ready to go play at a really high level next Thursday night.
We don't know what the football's going to look like, but we know what the bob and weave game looks like. It's pretty solid, Coach.
Yeah, it is.
Guys, I appreciate it. Always love being on the show.
Indeed. That's Josh Heupel, Coach Josh Heupel.
I thought he was going to say a guy with two arms.
Yeah. I promise you there will be someone playing quarterback next week.
Well done, Coach. Well done.
What is old
That was Little Mac dodging Soda Popinski right there, just out of the way.
Dip, duck, dodge, and duck.
Yeah.
He did it. He did exactly.
And hula hoops.
Well, hula hoops.
615-737-1045. If you want to react to that conversation, we will react to that conversation. When we come back, it's nice to coach to wake up early on a very busy day just to pop up with us. That's the earliest guest we've ever had on this show, I think.
Rhett should be proud.
So we'll get to our first break. You can load up those lines, 737-1045. I missed what you said, but I heard Schaefer laughing, so I must have missed something.
He said Rhett would be proud.
Oh, yeah, Rhett's definitely proud. At JMart Ramon on Twitter. We'll be right back here on The Zone.
The Titans and Bears end the preseason together in Nashville. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart. If you have a wet basement or crawl space, guess what? I want you to call United Structural Systems. You've probably heard me say that at least 2 or 3 times a week for almost the last year. And the reason why is because I know they're going to get the job well done for you. They've been doing it for over 25 years. Nobody has anything but great things to say about United Structural Systems. That's why they are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And these are issues that get really expensive as time goes on. They're not good for the life of your home at all. So you don't need to put up with water intrusion. You don't need to put up with moisture. You need to get this fixed. Now, it might be poor drainage. Could be surface water flooding over your walls, maybe underwater pressure forcing water into your basement, or something as simple as a plumbing leak. You don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems does. They're going to come out and diagnose it. They're going to find out exactly what's going on, tell you why. Okay, here's why your basement is wet. Here's why this crawl space isn't what you need it to be. They're going to give you the plan to fix it for free. They're going to give you a detailed free estimate. You tell them to get to work, they get to work, they finish the job. You don't pay until the very last step, and that's after they know that you're fully satisfied. But over 20,000 people can tell you, I used USS. All these other people over here used USS. You're going to be very happy with the job that's done. So, again, nothing to lose and everything to gain for your home. Free estimate. Find out how much it's going to cost to fix from the people I trust, the people Nashville trusts. It's USS, United Structural Systems. Here's the telephone number, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275 or online at USSTN.com, United Structural Systems.
Looking for a big diamond? Genesis Diamonds introduces our Elite Collection. These are large, rare diamonds in the top 1% of the world. 3 carat, 4 carat, 5 carat, up to 10 carat precious diamonds.
Real Estate Traffic Center.
For the most part, things are looking good this morning. No problems coming in on 65 or 40. No unusual delays on 24 or 440. 840 running accident-free. This report brought to you by carsaver.com/sell. Right now, the resale value of used cars is sky high. At carsaver.com/sell, you can sell your car in minutes. Just enter your car's details and get an instant cash offer. They'll even arrange to pick your car up. Get started now at carsaver.com/sell. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Do you have a guy? Like, do you know who the guy is, regardless of whether or not you're willing to tell that publicly yet?
Don't have a guy that we're willing to name at this point. No, do not.
You heard it. Milton's going to start next week against Bowling Green. Look, we know he's got a guy.
Yeah,
they're not a week out, and he didn't know who the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah.
Also didn't expect he was going to tell us. Kyle Shanahan actually had a really good answer about that yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. Because he's constantly asked about Jimmy G and Trey Lance. And so he says, look, you media people, he's like, you come and tell me.
Straight to us.
He's like, you come up with a logical reason why it benefits my football team to end your suspense other than to stop these questions being asked. And I'll answer you right now. He goes, but I don't think it helps our football team. I don't think it helps anybody other than just ending your suspense so you can stop asking the question. He's like, I don't think that's a good enough reason.
That's about as solid as it gets.
It's a pretty great answer.
That's a perfect reason to do it. We've got needs too there, Kyle. Quit being so selfish.
We got needs too.
Give us what we want, damn it.
Partner. That's so true, though. I told him we spoke about it off air. We were being more sensible then about why he answered the way he did. And it goes down to him just probably wanting to tell the entire team as they hear it together at once. You know, if it get leaked out in the media,
yeah,
then
sure. If he hadn't told the team,
you know
then you're not going to tell
yeah.
that on a random radio show anywhere.
No, absolutely nowhere. So I get it. And I'll say this meeting that he has to go to this morning, today is 7 days away from game day. Basically, at this point, game prep starts up. I'm not sure if they started today in 7 days or this weekend as far as like really locking down. But the way I see it is it'll probably be named this morning or tomorrow morning. The guy that's got to know who's getting the starting position got to know very soon. Therefore, he can lock in. Therefore, the O-line and the running back and the wide receivers know who they're working with. I'm of course, been reading up on some stuff, and just all these guys have been getting reps with the 1s, 2s, and 3s. So imagine what that's looked like across the board when it comes to performing. And now I'm sure they got who they know are going to be wide receivers as far as the starters. O-line is probably still piecing itself together. But as a whole, the quarterback, as we all know, as we watch the Titans go through their transition with Tannehill, they got to get some camaraderie. That's the reason people are asking about when is the team going to fully be together on offense or defense for that matter. So with the college season starting up next Thursday for this Vols team, it's going to be, I guess, important to get it done. He's not pressed steel, but the guys got to know soon.
Yeah, and like I said, I think they do. And I think we do too, honestly.
Yeah.
I think the worst kept secret or certainly it's going to surprise me if it's not Milton. I think it's going to surprise most of the people that cover the team.
I'll be honest. I think he passed the eye test at starter when we started seeing those pictures and people started raving about him. Then you start hearing about his arm strength and how big of a cannon he has. And now we're here at this point. It's like, well, he's the guy unless he messes something up in these next 8 days or 7 days. I'm looking forward to see what it's going to look like. Again, transferring from a big university to another big university, older guy. What's his poise like? Also, what are the guys behind him continuously going to do? Are they still going to be ready and supportive also? Because I'm sure Hendon Hooker didn't come here to just be a guy that sits on the sideline. And maybe it's good to keep everybody in suspense, including the guys that's in competition, because you're still going to get the best out of the next guy. It's just hard to see them not giving their all after waiting. Harrison Bailey's waiting, then having transfers jump in front, and now having Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton come in and compete against one another. It's going to be interesting to see how that group still continue to either support each other or if one got to come in a game for a series or two, how they still perform.
Hey, Shave, How do you keep a loser in suspense?
I don't know. How do you keep a loser in suspense?
You loser. Get it?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
I see he got time today. This pumpkin spice latte is all over right now.
You stupid idiot.
It's a great dad joke right there.
You are a dad.
Shafe's a dad to a bunch of kids out here.
Uncle, I'm not going to say dad. What are you doing over there?
I was waiting on you to correct it.
Come on now.
Moan, how do you keep a jerk in suspense?
By calling him Jason Martin.
That is a demerit.
That was just stupid.
That just didn't work.
That didn't work.
You think I was going to let him flip it on me?
You know what you do, Moan? I just thought about it. There is a way out of this. Ask me the same question.
How do you keep a jerk in suspense, Jason Martin?
Hold on. Hang on, I'll be with you in a minute. That's how you do it.
You see, this is what happens on Weekend's Eve right here.
This dude just did this.
Jason Aloysius Martin, man, is choosing violence, even though he can't see what's going on moving forward.
Oh, you can be blind and still choose violence.
Yeah, that's true.
Ask Jean-Claude Van Damme when he got blinded in Bloodsport.
Because Mike put a facepalm dad joke on Zone TV.
It's funny is what it is.
No.
No.
I mean, it's a dad joke. It's all right.
It's a
It's
dad
all right.
joke.
It's all right.
No, it's just okay.
No,
It was really
good.
bad. It was really bad.
No, it wasn't.
That was pretty bad.
No, it wasn't really bad.
Do you get it, Moan?
Oh, I got it from the beginning. That's the reason I called it you.
Yeah, no. What you did was bad.
No, it wasn't good, Moan.
It wasn't
Sorry.
good.
No.
Why? By calling him Jason Martin?
It just wasn't clever. It wasn't funny.
By the way, I'm not running against Bill Lee. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out there right now.
That is a gentleman in Sumner County, that is.
Yeah.
Not this Jason Martin.
Simple Sumner
That's
County.
like the Dan Patrick politician and Dan Patrick the show host. It's kind of
There's
a
two
similar
Dan
situation.
Patricks?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
interesting.
One's a politician. The other one is DP, Dan Patrick.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, son.
We have a similar situation.
So we asked him about the running back position too, Jay. Josh Heupel, in an interview we had with him. Do you think this running game is going to be as impactful as they say it is in the SEC? I know he said they got a long time history of being able to run the ball, but you see this being the case?
So here's the thing. We're game day next week is when we're going to pick the record. We're not going to do
game
that.
day.
Yeah, we're going to pick the record. We're going to pick the schedule top to bottom. I don't know what to expect.
I don't either.
In virtually any facet other than they're going to score more points than they did last year, and they're going to the tempo is going to be quick. I think we all expect that. What certain guys are going to be able to do, as Josh Heupel said it best, I'm not willing to name that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, do I think Jalen Hyatt has a good chance? Yes. Jalen Hyatt looks like he could play and flourish in this offense.
Be a guy, right?
Running game, they've got a stable.
Yeah, they do. Jabari Small, Tyon Evans, and Jalen Wright. All guys that need to show improve this year. So the thing to me, it comes down to that O-line also. And before we get to next week, though, if this team comes out and drops 40+, which they should, are you tapping your feet in suspense, Jay, or are you more like, okay, they're supposed to do that? Which one are you siding with on this one?
Say that one more time.
If this team comes out, I see you definitely choosing violence today. If this team comes out and drops 40, where are you taking this as far as the projection on this year? Even if it's
Talking against Bowling Green? No,
Yes,
I'm not gonna make anything out of getting 40 over Bowling Green. You know how bad Bowling Green is?
Yeah, I know they're really bad.
Horrible.
Yeah, horrendous.
Horrible.
If they don't get 40, I'll be more likely to have something to say about that than if they score 45. Because I think there's going to be 40-point games for this team this year. I feel like that's what you brought him here to do, is to compete in that way. But I don't think that you're going to be able to tell much other than, hey, they look like they picked up this offense and they can play against a bad team. This is the equivalent of playing against the twos in the preseason.
Yeah, Bowling
Green. I know that
Green.
sounds disrespectful to Bowling Green, and it kind of is supposed to, just
but
because.
It is what it is. This is like UT Martin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying this is a team that you absolutely should dominate, and if you don't,
then we got problems on our hand. For sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we think the record breakdown is going to be, but they got their hands full. It seems like they're coming out of it in a good way. With camp, we hadn't heard of any major injuries coming along, man. Knock on wood for that. And they're slated to take off on Thursday night. I'll be watching the entire game, in case you was wondering, too. It's a Thursday. Hopefully we don't have anything going on, man.
What are you talking about? Your family?
Next Thursday, yeah. We always got something going on Thursday.
Well, you can control that.
Yeah.
How?
You
Not
say
do things.
no.
To practice?
Okay, but you take the kid to practice, but you can watch it on your phone. You've done it before.
Is this game pay-per-view, by the way?
No, it's on
No,
SEC
man.
Network.
Yeah, it's on the SEC Network. Okay. You know how they were doing for a while where you had to pay for a game? What was it, Jefferson Pilot?
No.
Nope.
Who was it that you had to have pay-per-view for, the homecoming games at UT? Y'all don't remember
That might have been through Comcast. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
But it wasn't JP.
No.
It wasn't Jefferson Pilot?
No.
That was the regional stuff.
Yeah, that was a regional
That's where I grew up, ACC territory. Jefferson Pilot, Raycom.
Raycom. It's so amazing to me how y'all just know these networks like that.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching it, and I saw Jefferson Pilot and Raycom for so long.
I remember moving down here in the early 2000s going, what is this Jefferson Pilot stuff? Yeah.
And now, here we go. Jason is squinting his butt off this morning in the studio. Are your eyes better this morning, man?
No.
It's simply said.
That's a much more definitive answer than Josh Heupel gave us.
Way more definitive.
Like I said, they've been awesome to me, and they did a tremendous job. It's a 1 to 3 month recovery program.
It's a 1 month recovery?
1 to 3 months.
Well, it sounded like Carson Wentz's ankle there for a second.
No. 1 to 3
It
months.
depends.
Yeah,
Everybody's eyes are different. I'm hoping we're going to be on the 1 month end. My wife's getting her procedure done in October.
Ooh.
Same place. It's going to be a 1 day recovery.
It's got a time up.
1 day.
It's got a time up, Jay.
I just didn't get lucky. My eyes required people are like, oh, you got LASIK? And it's like, no, I didn't. I got PRK surgery. It's a little bit different.
Oh, man. Because on Zone Chat, somebody say, you know what's petty? Is this guy sitting here drinking pumpkin spice and the doggone summer ain't even over yet. We didn't even make it through Labor Day, Jay. And here you are with a pumpkin spice. All you need now is some.
No, it's a sip of
dirty-
PSL that I'm sure somebody spit. It's not. It's
Some-
pumpkin cream cold brew, which is better than pumpkin spice latte. If you're team pumpkin, go get the pumpkin cream cold brew. First off, it's about a third of the carbs. And then I replaced the vanilla with 1 pump of sugar-free vanilla syrup. So I'm down to like a 12 carb drink, which is still more than means I won't eat dessert tonight. Because I don't allow that. But 12 is really not bad.
With this with this pumpkin spice, all you need is some Ugg boots and some leggings on. You fit right in on any college campus. Come on, man. At least make it past Labor Day, Jay. You couldn't even do that for the game. Come on.
I didn't need to make a pass. Look, it's time, man. Football's next week. I could have waited until next Thursday, but I'm not going to.
You should.
We got the golf classic tomorrow.
Well, we do got the golf classic tomorrow.
Oh, I'm going to have to see you guys tomorrow. Sweet.
Come on, man. You know you're going to miss us.
Pantsless Friday in the studio.
I mean, I'm wearing gym shorts today, so we're almost there.
Yeah, what's happening? Is there laundry problems here?
I just didn't feel like putting on clothes.
But you're clothed. You just don't have on jeans or anything this morning.
I'm clothed. I just put on a different shirt, and that was it.
It kind of feels like today is a combined practice in this studio, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's like Thursday with the Bucks and the Titans.
It's getting
Yeah,
real.
some turd stuff
Walking
right
around. I
there.
wish one of these people would say something to me today.
It's getting real hostile in the studio,
Somebody's
man.
catching some hamburger helper mitts, man.
I think it's the alarm time that I'm thinking about tomorrow morning. What time you setting your alarm for tomorrow morning, Jay, for this golf tournament in Rockville?
I think I'm going to let you drive us. So
I know, but what time you setting your alarm?
I think usually I set it for about 4:15, somewhere
When we
in
go
there.
to Rockville?
Yeah.
That means I'm a 4 o'clock or 3:50 guy.
No, it just depends.
God.
Depends on where we end up choosing to meet as to when I'll be there. But yeah, I think I saw somebody pop up in the chat say remind me not to get the surgery you got. No, I'm gonna be 20/20 at the end of this thing.
Yeah,
You have no idea, man. I've had glasses since second grade. This is a miracle. I'm gonna be beaming happy in terms of the full results of this thing when it's over. It just right now, the short version is I just can't really read yet.
It's your cornea's fault.
Yeah, my corneas suck.
Was it genetic, or did you do something and
No,
scar
it's
your
just
eyes?
I don't think.
You had Jeremy Pruitt level corneas.
No, Butch Jones level cornea.
No, because Jeremy Pruitt was way worse.
Well, no, what about
Butch at
Derek-
least won a little bit.
Derek Dooley then.
I have Jerome Boger corneas.
Pruitt's, that's it. Jerome Boger corneas. That's right. Right now, you can see better than Jerome Boger can.
Who's Jerome Bogert?
The official from the Titans game.
Oh, yeah, him. I know exactly who it is now. It's a savvy name.
Are you crunching on ice?
Yeah, he is, man. That is a demerit.
What the hell?
What? No.
What is wrong with this show today?
Again,
You
joint
and you.
practices.
You and you.
We're in joint practice mode this morning.
Joe in Nashville. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, boys. Good morning.
Morning.
I got my first pack of pumpkin beer over the weekend. It's the best pumpkin beer. I haven't gotten a latte yet, but I'm about to, Jason. You've inspired me.
Tell me, man, get the cold brew.
Hold up. Pumpkin beer? Where are you getting this from?
My liquor store up here in Madison Beverage Warehouse is get the best one, though. It's Pumpkin, Pumpking. It's from like Albany or Buffalo or somewhere from like Southern Frontier Brewery or something.
There you go.
Which is all kinds of wrong. But
How strong
anyway,
is it? How strong is
it's
it?
delicious. So I have two Tennessee things. That was a great interview. Mona, I want you to watch and see if you agree with me. Stylistically and physically, Milton reminds me of when Roethlisberger was at Miami. Like, he reminds me of super young Roethlisberger. Now, I want you to tell me if you think that's true. And then I love how everybody was getting their butts hurt yesterday about Golish and Heupel kind of passing back and forth about who's going to call the plays. I love when people get caught up in, hey, who's going to call the plays? I would have just answered with, how about we just do it like we did it in Orlando? That seemed to work out fine. Thanks, boys. Have a great day.
I saw that too. I laughed. I know we're in the media where we got to ask these questions and get answers, but they basically play hot potato with who was going to call calls yesterday, and I laughed a good laugh.
They're both going to have a hand in it.
Sorry to my people in Knoxville that was there, but that was really funny to me. I'm with Joe right there. That was hilarious. Also, the Ben thing, I can see him being a gunslinger, guy that's hard to take down, and just to create guy. If he's anything like that, I know some people might hate it here, but that's a good place to be in. Again, the mobile quarterback, the ability to extend plays is awesome in today's football, period. I like that correlation right there, that comparison.
The Roethlisberger one?
Yeah. If he's anything like that, being able to extend plays, get first down, I think that's cool.
I mean, Roethlisberger, man, at Miami of Ohio was something else.
Yes, he was.
And I think a lot of it is he's a big quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Roethlisberger was a big quarterback.
Yeah.
Is a big
Is
quarterback.
a big quarterback.
Called him Big Ben for a reason.
Big Ben for a reason. Smoking Joe.
You hope that he is
Smoking
Joe is
Joe.
used in the sentence of Ben Roethlisberger at any point.
For real.
He's probably done something right in terms of on the football field. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. I see, is it AJ?
Yep.
AJ, I think, has a pumpkin spice take. AJ, hold on during the break. I pray it's the right take. If not, snipage will be had.
No, you will not. You will not.
Oh, I will too.
No.
I will too.
Bad AJ,
Stop
I'll
it.
kick him out.
No.
Moan, you might be tall, but your feet can't reach this.
My foot's powerful, though.
What does that mean?
It's going to kick you out of that chair.
Look here, AB.
I'll be that today.
I will rip your helmet
You
off.
saw that picture.
We'll be right back. JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Witness the passion that unites us all.
Touchdown, Tennessee! Wow!
The Vols play here.
1045 The Zone.
Hey, it's Schaefer with JMart and Ramon. As summer heats up, so does the sports betting action.
I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
JMart Ramon, 104.5 is powered by Old Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Just up here via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Appreciate Josh Heupel popping on right as we began the show. Head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. We'll repurpose that and let you hear it a little bit later on as well. But as promised, AJ was online too, waited patiently through the break. What's going on, AJ?
Hey, guys. J-Mart, I'm 100% on board with the pumpkin spice cold brew deal. But it should be a law. Take it to the Supreme Court that you cannot order a pumpkin spice drink unless it's 55 degrees or below.
Thank you. AJ, you ain't wrong, okay? There's rules and guidelines to this, and I'm glad I'm not the only one. Again, at this point, Jason needs some leggings, some Uggs, and a scarf.
Again, you've never said that before,
I said that earlier. You weren't listening.
I'm so on board with this. My wife makes fun of me for it. I like it so much, but I cannot do it at least until October 1st.
Man of the people, AJ.
Well, the problem is they take it away very quickly and move straight into the peppermint mochas and all that kind of stuff. Like the pumpkin season ends when you honestly think it should begin.
The pumpkin season begins whenever I'm able to go to pumpkin patches. Okay, that's when I'm
probably go to pumpkin patches.
I'm gonna go to a pumpkin patch too. Do the corn maze and all of that. I love this time of the year.
Jason, you can take CG to a pumpkin patch. You already did the sunflower thing.
Yeah, of course we're going to.
Yeah, that was a legitimate question. I wasn't even clowning you.
The leaves on the ground picture. We doing that one?
Oh, you got to do that.
Got to do that.
Yeah.
You and Abby holding her, kicking leaves.
Problem is, it's been so hot. You've got trees already losing leaves.
I know.
The temperature just
needs some rain.
Yeah, unless something drastic happened, the leaves this year in terms of the color are gonna suck.
They're gonna be
it's
brown.
been so hot.
Look at us.
But that's the thing. How do you do a pumpkin spice right now when it's literally 95 degrees every day?
I hadn't even seen. I'll say this with the leaves. There's not one orange leaf on the tree right now, and I feel like I need to see that shape before I inhale one of those drinks. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I gotta wait until after Labor Day.
I feel like we should, draw up a contract for Jay.
But it's harder in the South, though, because, Moan, you and I, having spent time up north where it gets cooler sooner, it's a little bit different down here because that just doesn't happen.
Here's the other thing, though, guys. A few things.
Here's the other thing.
One is, the other thing, this is probably more egregious to a lot of folks. What's my routine after the show when I get home from the gym? It is pour over. So I'm making hot coffee, pour over hand brew, manual brewed. Mm-hmm. And I'm drinking, the equivalent of about 4 or 5 cups of that with 105-degree heat
this is
outside.
My last day on the show, Shay.
So which one's worse?
Even Urban Meyer thinks that's pretentious.
No, I got the Urban Meyer.
And here's the other thing. I maybe will drink 4 of these during the entire time that it exists, because I know it sounds nuts because 12 grams of carbs isn't that much at all, but it is for me. Like the way that I'm wired now, because I was eating 1,200 carbs a day, I'll allow this, but I won't eat dessert today or tomorrow because of 12 grams of carbs. That may be, people will think that's crazy.
We got to tweak this a little.
But it's
cool
difficult.
Story, bro.
It's just difficult.
I'm with you and all. Tots and pears.
No, it's not even a cool story. I'm just saying I'll probably have 4 of these. So by the time this thing will be gone, and it started on the 24th, and so rolling out on the 26th for my first one. Happy birthday to my mom today.
Hey, happy birthday, Mom.
She was down yesterday.
Mama Martin. There we go. Tots
What's your mom's name?
Brenda.
Miss Brenda.
Happy birthday, Brenda.
Miss Brenda. Happy birthday, Miss Brenda.
Brenda Joyce.
Brenda Joyce. Oh, that's a real Southern name right there. You know somebody with Joyce? I knew a Joyce Ann.
Her last name was Joyce.
Oh, for real? God,
she was Brenda Sue Joyce.
I don't think Joyce is a Southern name. I think
you
that's
don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Brenda Joyce would be a real Southern
Because
name.
I'm convinced everyone has an Aunt Joyce and an Uncle Jim.
Even in Western PA,
Oh, I had 3 Uncle Jims.
What
no joke.
You had 3 Uncle Jims?
3 uncles, all named Jim.
Whatever happened to the name Joyce, though? It's like Herbert.
It's an underrated
Herbert's
name.
my dad's name.
Herbert.
Come Come on. You're not serious, right?
Look at that.
Herbert Leroy.
Herbert Leroy.
That's a Southern name. That's right there with Jim Bob. Herbert Leroy.
Herbert. Look at that. Leroy is another.
Leroy. It's Leroy.
I knew a Leroy growing up, too.
Yeah.
The last one I've known.
I've known a Leroy my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad and Leroy Jenkins.
Wow.
Leroy Jenkins.
Golly. It's a few names that's kind of escaped like kids these
My dad
days.
shortened it to Lee.
It's Lee Leroy.
Oh, we're going to call him Leroy.
I definitely call
I
him.
named my gerbil after my dad.
He
was Herb the Gerb.
Oh, I thought you called it Leroy.
Leroy.
No, Herb the Gerb.
Herb the Gerb.
Bruce Leroy. From Last Dragon.
Bruce Leroy.
I just like that you just are like, that's like Herbert. Like, what's going on with my parents? Why are my parents taking shrapnel from Ramon Foster?
Why are they getting dragged into the
Joyce
show?
is a last name. Joyce and
Devin
Herbert.
White just put Cam Batson down again.
He did.
This show was the combined practice.
Man. You just got
Joint
Josh,
practice.
You just got Josh Norman there.
615-737-1045 after the top of the hour headlines. Talk about what's happening in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence is going to play starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars week 1.
Stunned. Can't believe it. Who'd have thought?
Everyone from the second the Jaguars had the number 1 pick in the draft, before they even picked Trevor Lawrence, when they secured the number 1 pick in the draft, Trevor Lawrence was QB1. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Absolutely. No matter what Gardner Minshew said, he hadn't even had a number 2 because he's not used to
So
being
stick
the
around.
second.
We're going to side-eye the Jaguars in 5 minutes here on 104.5 The Zone.
Coming up today on Blaine and Mickey.
Former NFL safety and Sirius XM broadcaster Solomon Wilcots is going to join us in hour 1 to talk NFL.
And Coach Doug Matthews is in studio exactly 1 week away from kickoff on Rocket Top.
Today, starting at 1 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
being cleared, and Division Street at 12th Avenue South, we've got an accident with emergency crews on the scene. This report brought to you by Northern Tool and Equipment. Looking for serious horsepower for your tough jobs? Get to Northern Tool. Monday through Saturday, they're now open at 7 a.m. to serve you better. Kickstart your workday with them and get more done. Northern Tool and Equipment. Quality tools for serious work. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
From the WinBet studio, win with WinBet. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. The Titans and the Bears. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football. Trending now at 104.5 The Zone.
It's 7:03. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel joined at JMart and Ramon in the previous hour and was asked about who will be the starting quarterback next week for the Vols when they take the field to start the regular season.
Don't have a guy at this point. I do like the group as a whole, and appreciate what they've done. And I think our football team that surrounds those guys has great confidence in them as well.
Coach remaining mum on the quarterback situation. We will replay that interview during the 9 o'clock hour. Also have it available as a podcast following the show. Titans claimed offensive lineman Derwin Gray off of waivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Additionally, the team placed Harold Landry on the reserve COVID list. Gray played in 5 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 2020 season. Haynes King has been named Texas A&M starting quarterback. He replaces the departed Kellen Mond. Major League Baseball, this one went way late. Dodgers beat the Padres 5-3 in 16 innings. Baltimore snapped a 19-game losing streak by defeating Shohei Ohtani and the Angels 10-6. Sounds lost to Gwinnett 5-4 in 10 innings at First Horizon Park last night. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Now it's time for Jason Martin and Vol for Life Ramon Foster.
Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Together, they are JMart and Ramon on 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in, JMart and Ramon, hour number 2 of the program. Along with 11-year NFL veteran, Vol for Life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin. We're presented, powered, and lifted up by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. The website is allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. Guests appear via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Tomorrow we'll appear at the 104.5 The Zone Golf Classic. By we, I mean Ramon and me, because Schaefer isn't allowed out of the county.
I'm fine with that.
What?
That's not true. I live in Sumner, so I'm not allowed south of Davidson County.
No, okay.
We're not welcome there.
I'm not allowed in Sumner. It's too wealthy.
You go there every Thursday for golf lessons.
Steve Palazzolo.
You mean your nanny and your pour-over lessons?
Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, to join us in the next segment.
Against his will, probably.
Certainly against his will. He's basically tied up in the chair in Reservoir Dogs.
Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon.
Ramon's dancing around him to stealing wheel. Steelers wheel.
Steelers wheel. Yeah.
That is a demerit.
No.
Demerited.
Don't you start, Moner. I'll give you one. Don't do it.
See, I stopped my laugh.
All right.
You already lost the week when you didn't realize Blake Lively was a woman.
Very attractive one.
That happened yesterday on the show. Birthdays.
You got Blair Underwood wrong. What is wrong with you?
I told you. Players mess up, okay? I get to start over. It's a new game day today. Y'all keep bringing up old stuff, man.
Dude, we might need to bring Doug Legursky and you keep screwing up like that. There it is. See, only 2 people know why that's funny.
You idiot.
That's great for radio when 2 people find something funny.
Look at the guy over here.
Ramon replaced Doug Legursky to get his starting gig with the Steelers.
Oh, what's wrong with you, man?
What?
Nothing. Why? Jason Aloysius.
I heard
is
you.
going to be mad, man. We need to talk some sports or something, dog. But I want to talk about what your wife told you.
Oh, man.
What?
Because it's getting out of control now.
Last night I put on YouTube the Milk Crate Challenge compilation, Hood Olympics.
Death sentence.
And She doesn't even look up from her phone. She just says, whoever the person is that started that trend, if they can find them, they should be put in prison. Because of what it's doing to her profession.
Your wife does what as
She's a doctor.
She's a doctor. Okay.
Now, wait a minute. Are we blaming the person that started it? Because isn't it everybody else making their own individual decisions?
No, it's the person that put it out there on social media, on TikTok, the first time that made people decide, hey, I can be famous by doing this too.
Yeah, but that's people being idiots because they want to be famous.
It's whoever's made it popular is who she's referring to.
So, Abby, your sweet wife said they need to what?
It's like they need to be held criminally responsible because of like the number of like orthopedic injuries and stuff like that are coming through, and doctors that are being overwhelmed while also dealing with, the other thing that's happening medically in the country.
I couldn't imagine. You're like, how many cases where it becomes like bothersome for like the doctors and physicians? Just like, are they seeing like 5 a day of just like wrecked ribs?
Yeah, like I don't know if it's like even local. Like I don't think she's seeing it because she's a pediatrician, and I don't think there's a lot of kids that are doing this.
I did see.
There are some, but most of it is idiot adults in high heels and stuff like that.
I saw the high heels. I ain't gonna lie.
Darwinism at its finest.
How do you step onto a milk crate with high heels like this? I mean, you
very
want
carefully.
You want to talk about a recipe for disaster?
Did y'all see? This is bad, but the amputee guy doing it.
Oh no, we're not watching that.
No, I didn't
break.
see that.
No.
I'm bringing it up.
No.
There was an amputee.
So it was a one-legged guy.
I'm not joking here. Okay. He had 2 amputated legs and like some really short arms, and his wasn't as high as the other milk crate challenges.
Oh no! I think we need to stop. This just sounds bad.
Yep, but I'm gonna show you guys on the break.
Don't
just
you
so
dare
you know.
tweet that out.
I wonder if that's how
Don't do
Trevor
it.
Lawrence became QB1 in Jacksonville. Successfully outdueled Gardner Minshew, who had not dropped a deuce since the beginning of camp.
Idiot.
Said he wasn't going to do that in the midst of this competition.
Imagine how relieved he feels now.
Literally.
Literally. Like, why did Herb do that? Like, we knew that. Like, with UT and Heupel, it could be like maybe a couple other guys. Legitimately, it could be. But in Jacksonville, there was no chance whatsoever Gardner Minshew was going to start game 1.
Unless Trevor was just absolutely terrible, but that wasn't going to happen.
No, absolutely not.
I'm surprised somebody else didn't come after Minshew. Another team.
Knowing Herb, I feel like at some point they still might have to like rely on him though.
They might have. I'm just saying, like, he makes $800,000 a year, and there are teams in this league that have starters that I'd rather have Minshew than their starting quarterback.
Yeah. But no, I think he's a hot commodity there in Jacksonville. I do think that. I feel like if Trevor hits a wall with Urban Meyer, they both can find a way. He's going to find his way back into the lineup.
There is a lot more talk, it seems like, over the last 2 days
of
not playing Trevor this year at all because of the offensive line.
Well, we saw what happened in Cincinnati.
We did. The only thing is, it's like you drafted him and you're afraid to play him because the rest of the team's not good enough. That's a them problem. Like, that's a you for a long time problem. And here's the thing. That Jacksonville O-line, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not in the same classification as that Bengals line was last year. They're not good, but they're not that line.
Yeah, they're not that bad. They got some experience. It's just a matter of, I guess, to me personally, watching them, I think they're taking this approach as pros with a college mentality. I really think they got all those guys watching them up front, all their guards set at the line of scrimmage instead of setting individually to what's good for them. And I'm just looking at them like, that's going to be so easy to snuff out. Watching, like I said, Dallas just go to work on them was kind of like, well, yeah. Again, Herb's got to learn. I feel like he's learning on the curve right now also. And having Trevor Lawrence as number 1 overall pack warrants him to be the starter at day 1. Wow, I feel like Jackson would have a riot if he's not the day 1 starter, man, as much as they
there's
love.
no way. There was no way.
Yeah, has there been a number 1 overall, not start?
Yeah, of course.
There has been? Who
Baker didn't start.
Baker didn't start. Okay.
That's just one example.
Who was his head coach with him? Was it Freddie Kitchens?
No, it was Hugh Jackson.
There it is right there. Okay.
Who's now at Tennessee
Who's
State
now at
University.
TSU. By the way, saw an article the other day, too, that was like players you should watch in HBCUs. And I just got to tip my hat to what Eddie has did there, and Dion also, in a sense of just bringing light to those athletes at that level also.
But I mean, there've been plenty of number one overall quarterbacks that haven't
not
started.
Start day one.
Yeah, because it didn't used to be a thing that happened very often.
Yeah. But it's different now. Most of these young guys are
they
starting.
do.
Even at different positions they are. Most of the guys aren't playing a learner role. It's what can you do for me right now?
That's because of the value of rookie contracts.
Yeah.
You need them to be good while you can surround them with talent before you run into issues where you have to pay everybody.
Do you see, honestly, if we're being real about where Jacksonville is right now, do you see them actually turning it around with this regime, with this quarterback?
I love the quarterback.
Okay.
I truly do. I think he's a stud, and I think he's going to be really good. I don't know about the coach.
You don't know about the coach. And
Coach
the
is.
I definitely don't. I do know about Schottenheimer and Bevel, and what I know about them ain't good. All the news about your football team ain't been good news.
No, it has not. And for those reasons, though, how long do you give Herb? 2, 3, 4 years?
I think the over-under should be 3 years.
3 years. And then Trevor's going to reset. And then he's going to a totally different scheme, different head coach, different OC.
Well, the first thing that's going to happen is Schottenheimer and Bevel won't be there. If they struggle offensively this year, they'll be out next year because Meyer's going to find somebody else. Because I don't know how he's going to deal with winning 5 games.
He's
going to win 5 games in 4 months.
Has it ever been a situation where Herb's been said not to be a coach you want to work for?
Probably. I mean, a lot of coaches have enjoyed working for him too, because they found success and gone on to have good careers themselves. But that's going to be tough, man, because a lot of those guys just aren't used to it. We got Steve Palazzolo coming up on the other side from Pro Football Focus. We'll talk to him about the Lawrence situation, QB1 in Chicago, why he thinks Matt Nagy is doing what Matt Nagy is doing. As usual, fun conversation, wide-ranging conversation with Palanono, Pala whatever.
Palabozo.
Palabozo, that was last week's.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Palazzolo joins us Pro Football Focus next here on 104.5 The Zone.
Friday night, it's Brentwood Academy at CPA in the 104.5 The Zone Football Friday Night Game of the Week. Presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office and Paul Winkler Investing. Coverage starts Friday night at 6 with Will Bowling and Lucas Panzica on your home for high school football. 104.5 The Zone.
It's JMart. I bet you're tired of renting. If you're renting, I bet you're really potentially wanting to, make that move. I want you to make your dreams of home ownership happen. The loan officers and my good friends over at Mortgage Investors Group are ready today to help walk you through your options. It's within your grasp to get this thing done. They've got the advice that you need to get you started and get you ahead. You can get ahead of all these other buyers that are looking for that same house that you are, maybe the exact same house that you are, by getting pre-qualified before you ever start looking. The pre-qualification process gives you the bargaining power that you need, but it also helps you close quicker. And it's that last one I think that's most important. Even if you're trying to get it as affordably as possible, you just got to get it, period. So that pre-qualification is so important. If you're a first-time home buyer, you've got to have the right people on your side, and the right people is Mortgage Investors Group. Nobody does it better. Nobody takes you through the process in a way where you just feel more educated, more in the know, and just super well taken care of than these guys. But if you are someone that has owned in the past, now you've moved back to renting, Mortgage Investors Group is still going to be the answer. Don't worry. Whatever your situation, Mortgage Investors Group is going to be here for you every single step of the way. 100% financing possible to take you from renting to owning based on borrower qualification. Mortgage Investors Group is committed to helping Tennesseans just like you and your family fulfill your dreams of home ownership. Mortgage Investors Group wants to be your home loan lender. I want you to let them. I want you to do it today. Go to migonline.com. That's where you can get started. You can see sort of the overview of everything, the Home Court Advantage program that they offer, which is absolutely fantastic. I'll be talking to you about that tomorrow here on the show. And you can find out where the office nearest you is, whether it's Hendersonville, Ramon, whether it's me in Brentwood and Cool Springs. There is a Mortgage Investors Group building really, really close to you, somewhere near you MIG has you covered. Again, migonline.com for the office nearest you and the advice that you need. Or text MIG to 31399. I told you about pre-qualification. That's how to get the process started. MIG, text that to 31399 to get pre-qualified. And if you get pre-qualified, you will get moving with Mortgage Investors Group, Equal Housing Lender, license number 109111.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Any make, any model, any age, any price from $50 to $100,000. We buy any car. We buy any car.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Traffic Center.
Brentwood, 65 southbound, south of Old Hickory Boulevard. Watch for a crash blocking the right shoulder. Division Street. We've got an accident at 12th Avenue South with emergency crews on the scene. And Avondale, West Trinity Lane, east of 65. There's a crash. No problems coming in on 24 or 40. No unusual delays on 440. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Is everything zen now that Trevor Lawrence is QB1 in Jacksonville? Because we didn't know that beforehand. JMart and Ramon, the name of the radio program at JMart and Ramon, is where you can find us on Twitter. Guests appear via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, including this guy. One of our favorites. Joins us every single week from Pro Football Focus this season. Steve Palazzolo with us. Steve, what's going on?
Morning, Steve.
Not much, just enjoying some more football, one more week, and then the real stuff.
So, curious. Harry Douglas, I think, said this on ESPN either yesterday or the day before. Julio Jones is the best receiver in the NFL. In 2021, is it okay to have that opinion?
I think it's okay, yeah. I mean, the thing, he's got a 10-year track record, right? I mean, when you go back over the last 10 years in the NFL, it is Julio Jones. He is the top guy. It's also okay to say, well, he's 33 and, you know, be sour a little bit on him with other guys emerging and with Julio not only being a little bit older, but being banged up. So I think he's been the most impactful receiver in the NFL over the last 10 years. So, yeah, it's absolutely okay to have that take. It's also okay to think, well, it could be a bit of starting a bit of a regression in his career, which is also okay because even if he regresses, he's still one of the best.
Which receiver do you think has a better season in Tennessee this year, A.J. Brown or Julio?
I think I'm going to say AJ. I think Julio's going to take some of the attention away from him. I think AJ, you know, heading into year 3, just has a chance to round out his game a little bit more. And man, he's just been special to this point. You know, that I'll never forget the game against the Ravens where he just decided I'm going to win this for us. Between him and Derrick Henry, we're going to go win this. I'm just going to break every tackle. You know, that level of special that AJ Brown has, I think. We'll continue to see that.
You can take one of these 3 guys, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, over the next 7 years. Who do you want?
I would probably go A.J. Brown just by a touch over Justin Jefferson. Jefferson was so impressive last year. And usually when you ask me, what do you look for in a receiver? It's just route running, get open. And I think Jefferson's the best of that bunch when it comes to that. But again, A.J. Brown's special athleticism and his size and just how difficult he is to cover. I think it's A.J. Brown. And DK obviously is special in his own right. I just think the other 2 receivers are better rounded, of course, than what DK brings to the table.
With as popular as fantasy football is these days, does it kind of like skew the way we view the game in accordance to how y'all like grade guys these days too?
No, I mean, it depends on how you're viewing it. I mean, fantasy certainly doesn't change the way we grade players necessarily, but we do, we have an entire fantasy department over at PFF, and it's their job to figure out, hey, which players are the best for fantasy stats, and their fantasy strategies are different than real NFL strategies, right? I mean, from a fantasy standpoint, you're looking for volume and good offenses, and that's where those guys are going to get points. So I think it depends on your lens. I would say where fantasy football does skew things is our general take that running backs are mostly the product of their supporting cast and their surroundings. So when you see a running back that has 10 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, we instantly think, well, he's the catalyst for that, when it's really Ramon and his buddies up front doing a lot of that work. So that's where I would say sometimes there's a disconnect. We overrate, it sounds weird, we overrate touchdowns. Of course, that's the goal of the game, but the guy who earns the touchdown isn't always the guy who deserves all the credit.
Steve, you must be coming to Nashville and you want to go out for drinks and you want me
something's
to pay.
changed.
You can just text me,
we're
dog.
going to do some in-studio stuff. I'll come down and hang out.
Absolutely, man. Answer me this, man, if you will. Does the Titans' lack of having their entire offense together right now, you think kind of will affect them moving forward, considering Julio's a guy, and AJ, both that hadn't practiced a lot? Do you expect the sputtering from what you've seen in years past with this type of stuff going on?
Yeah, I think it's tough to tell. I mean, I don't think there's a clear cut. It's kind of like, do you start your rookie quarterback or do you sit him? I don't think there's a clean answer for that. Some teams start a little bit slower. Some teams don't necessarily need as many reps. I think that there could be some growing pains early on, but again, I think we saw last year without preseason, the NFL looked pretty good from week one. It didn't look like an ugly brand of football where people weren't prepared. So I think teams did a really good job of repping it out at practice, doing what they needed to do to prepare. So even with injuries and all that stuff, I have faith that the NFL is going to look good and that, the players that are supposed to look good, the offenses that are supposed to look good, we'll figure it out early on.
Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, on with us here on JMart and Ramon. With what's happened in New England, does Mac Jones have a shot to be week one starter for the Patriots?
Yeah, I think so, just because he's been good. He's been unbelievable in the preseason for whatever that's worth. And a lot of it's like as advertised. Oh, look, Mac Jones is playing the same way he did at Alabama. He hits open receivers. He makes good decisions, gets rid of the ball. His stat line doesn't show it, but his 3 best throws were all drops down the field. So that would obviously skew the stat line quite a bit. I think that's the bottom line. Now, I was also intrigued by Cam this year. I figured second year in the system would help, and I do think Cam brings that element of the QB rushing attack, which makes the Patriots so dangerous on the goal line with that offensive line and Cam and all those backs. So I don't think it's out of the possibility that that Cam still starts. But for whatever it's worth, Mac Jones going 35 for 40 in a joint practice yesterday. Again, for whatever the training camp stats are worth, overall, Mac Jones has impressed, whether in practice or in games. So would not be surprised if he's a week one starter.
A lot of people are talking about the Patriots, and look, it's Belichick, and it's that market, and ESPN absolutely loves to talk about the Patriots. But I do look at it and wonder, are we pushing this thing a little bit much when you consider the guys that are being referred to are Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, and Jonnu, who we loved while he was here, but it's not like this is DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and Travis Kelce. They have weapons, but how good are those weapons?
See, I think you have to just look relative to where they were the last couple of years, because their weapons this year are so much better than they were the last 2 seasons. I agree. It's not like it's a top 10, top 15 really even unit when it comes to weaponry, but I do think they're well-rounded. I think they had the worst tight end situation in the NFL over the last 2 seasons. That's so much better with Jonnu Smith and whenever Hunter Henry is healthy. And the receivers are at least better. I think Jacoby Myers is really, really good. Jacoby Myers could be a 90-catch guy. I think that's how good he is as just a route runner and what he does. So I would say the Patriots have a good, solid receiving core and a QB like a Mac Jones, who will spread the ball around. And the old adage of Tom Brady, right? Who's his favorite receiver? The open one. That is kind of how Mac Jones plays. So I think there could be a fit there, even though the Patriots don't necessarily look explosive and great on paper from a playmaking standpoint.
When it comes down to the Titans and filling their roster up and just trying to find the next playmaker as far as it goes, watching what, Tampa's done, Kansas City bringing everybody back, the Rams have done what they needed to. So as far as the Titans go, do you expect them to make a move for a team like this to try to go get a tight end? I saw Zach Ertz was cleared to finally practice, I think, moving forward now. You see him as a trade proposition for anybody?
Yeah, I think keeping an eye on those moves absolutely would be smart, whether it is a Zach Ertz, whether it's just the waiver wire. Yes, I think speed receivers, a couple years ago, and they had just having Khalif Raymond, a couple years ago, just running deep, 2 or 3 times a game. I really think that stuff helps to round out your offense, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't necessarily want to be top heavy. You don't want to just be AJ, Julio, and Derrick Henry. So the best offenses in the NFL just keep defenses off balance. I'll probably say this every week that we talk here. And when you have 3 and 4 and 5 guys to cover, then it just makes it more difficult. So, yeah, I think keep an eye on the waiver wire, keeping an eye on what happens in Denver with a guy like Tim Patrick, who's a very good big-bodied receiver heading into the last year of his contract, who could be the number 4 over there. I would just keep an eye on a lot of stuff around the league and say, look, wide receiver 3 or tight end or tight end should be a priority, I think, for the Titans.
Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, with us here on JMart and Ramon. Steve, what do you make? Are you side-eyeing a little bit what's happening in Dallas with Dak Prescott? Like, you kind of get conflicting information there, but are you at all concerned about how healthy he is this close to the start of the season?
A little bit, because as a former pitcher, I've had shoulder problems before, and I know sometimes you can rehab and it goes away. Other times that stuff lingers, and I think there is an element there of concern. Anytime you're talking about a shoulder or an elbow, and it's barking, and you take a couple of weeks off or whatever it is. Again, sometimes it really is nothing. I'm more concerned that Dak, kind of came in and had a shoulder injury. He just had the whole year to. I know he's rehabbing an ankle, but usually when you're rehabbing an ankle, you take care of the other parts of your body so that they're real strong, right? And especially just shoulder health. Shoulder health isn't a complicated thing for a thrower, but it takes time and it takes dedication. So I'm kind of wondering how that came about, the fact that Dak has his shoulder issues. So I try to tend to lean positive. I'm sure he'll be fine, but anytime you're talking about a shoulders kind of sap velocity a little bit. So I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Staying in Texas, looking at the Houston Texans,
dear Lord.
Is there any
way?
Is there any way that team is above 500, and they need, and we need to be worried about them throughout the season?
If Deshaun Watson plays,
yes,
that's it.
That's it.
Next question.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
I just had to ask you that because we had somebody who's like they can get 4 to 7 games in Houston, and I'm thinking, well, where is that going to come from?
It's tough. I mean, honestly, if Watson was the QB, I would probably talk myself into all the moves that Nick Caserio made and said, oh, look, he signed like 30 guys to 1- and 2-year contracts as veterans, and it feels like it's just a culture makeover over there, but not one that's going to actually make the team better this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have talked myself into, Desmond King's a good solid player, and Kevin Pierre-Lewis at linebacker, and Marcus Cannon, like they've got solid players that they brought in. But if it is Tyrod Taylor or Davis Mills at quarterback, it's like, all right, they're playmakers, they're corners. It's still a massive question mark. So not a lot of faith in the Texans this year.
Are you worried, Steve, about the health of Trevor Lawrence in a similar fashion, even though that offensive line's not as bad as what Burrow had in front of him last year, in terms of Jacksonville just not being able to protect Trevor Lawrence, who's used to having some time with what he had in front of him at Clemson, and certainly that's not going to be the case in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think the tackles, Cam Robinson and Juwan Taylor, no duo's given up more pressures than those two over the last 3 years. So the tackle situation's not great. I think the interior's a little bit better. Part of my concern is, Darryl Belleville, an offensive coordinator. I know everybody likes to overreact, and he's not a bad offensive coordinator. I think he did some really nice things. With Russell Wilson, he did some really nice things with Matthew Stafford 2 years ago. But I do think to protect that offensive line, you have to use more motion. Look, the Steelers so far are doing some really nice things to protect what I think is an offensive line that's well below standard in the
Super
NFL.
young.
Again, on paper, and they're using motion and misdirection and play action in Pittsburgh early on here in the preseason. To me, that's the type of stuff the Jaguars need to tap into. And with Urban as head coach, you would think, he started the Percy Harvin role and using interchangeable players and all that stuff. I think they need to tap into that creativity to protect the line a little bit, make things a little bit easier for Trevor Lawrence and all that stuff. So I'm a little concerned that we haven't seen that in the preseason, and the fact that, they trotted back the same offensive line as last year that was one of the worst pass blocking lines in the league over the last couple seasons.
With the Colts, who are in the AFC South, do we see this team actually pushing the Titans, potentially could win the AFC South when it comes down to it? I know Carson Wentz got to get over whatever hurdles he's got, but that offensive line he got should make him feel more comfortable. That defensive line, front seven on there in Indy, should support him also. Will they be a team that really pushes moving forward?
Yeah, I think the Colts and the Titans are the two top teams. I think the Colts look a lot like they did last year. I mean, it's a good, solid roster. You mentioned the offensive line. We ranked them second coming into the season. That's assuming Eric Fisher's healthy. So once Eric Fisher's back and healthy, that's a really good – I mean, there's no real weaknesses on that line, which is a great place to be. Again, my questions always end up on the perimeter, though. I mean, they also brought back all of their receivers, T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell. Maybe Michael Strawn, the seventh-round rookie, emerges and becomes a star. But I have questions about what the Colts are going to do on the outside as far as creating big plays. And again, it's today's NFL. You want your offensive line to be good enough, and then you just, create mismatches around for the defense. And I don't know the Colts are really equipped to do that. And, of course, it all comes down to Carson Wentz bouncing back. Even if I assume he bounces back and he's a mid-tier quarterback, which essentially he's been throughout his career, I think this Colts team looks a lot like they did last year, which is competitive, a good, solid, hard-nosed defense, play a lot of zone, not going to get beat up a lot, not going to get beat down the field. But my question is, how explosive can that offense be? And I think unless a Michael Pittman really emerges in year 2 or Paris Campbell really figures it out, I think that's going to remain a question for the Colts throughout the season.
The Titans, Steve, are going to be matching up with the Bears and seeing a lot of Justin Fields this weekend because Matt Nagy said Andy Dalton's QB1 for week 1. Now, I've looked at that and said, well, look, if I'm Justin Fields, I don't necessarily want Aaron Donald in my first pro game either, and it's the Rams, and then week 3 is Myles Garrett. But why do you think Matt Nagy is going with Dalton when it seems like even inside his own locker room, guys like Allen Robinson are saying, look, that young kid, that Justin Fields, that's the guy that gives us the best chance to win?
I think, I thought that the thought process was going to be, okay, let's do what's best for Justin Fields. And I was trying to give Matt Nagy the benefit of the doubt throughout the entire summer. His recent statement, I believe, was that, Andy Dalton's performance will depend, will dictate when Justin Fields plays. And that's the part that I completely disagree with. I mean, when you draft a first-round quarterback like a Justin Fields, your entire goal should be to maximize that guy's development. Your entire franchise depends on Justin Fields, not Andy Dalton. So, and then the answer, as I said, I don't think is that clear. I don't think Justin Fields has to start week 1 just because the fans want him and Allen Robinson wants him. I also don't think you have to have Justin Fields sit for 16 weeks just because Patrick Mahomes did it. Mm-hmm. You do what's best for Justin Fields, whatever you think that is. And don't let anything outside. If the Bears go 4-0 with Dalton and Justin Fields is ready, then it's Justin Fields' time. If Dalton is terrible and they're 0-4 and you don't think Fields is ready, then he's not ready. I mean, to me, that's what the Bears should be doing, which is preparing Justin Fields to be the starter for the Bears and doing whatever it takes to get him there. We'll see if they do that. So I don't hate the idea that Andy Dalton's starting, but again, it's got to be about Fields and his development, and when he's ready, it should be his team.
Now, true, we haven't seen as much as Nagy and certainly people inside the Bears organization, but around your offices, when you're talking to Sam and all those guys, what's the consensus in terms of how Justin Fields has looked and how close he appears to be, at least with what we've seen, to being ready?
Again, it's a lot of what we saw in college. I think social media is throwing the gold jacket on him. I know that. But he had that in Ohio State. He had that special playmaking ability. My concern is a lot of the same stuff coming out. He's averaged 3.7 seconds per dropback. So that includes, scrambling around, and it includes the rollouts. Fields has to get rid of the ball quicker. He got popped the other day. I don't know if that was his issue, the running back, but either way, it was a protection issue that somebody screwed up, and those things need to get cleaned up in Fields' game. He's got to work a little bit quicker. He is spectacular, though, as an athlete and as a thrower of the ball. Like the actual accuracy and touch, Fields has it all. But now it's a lot of what Watson and Russell Wilson, Josh Allen to a point. Are you more comfortable playing outside structure, or can you balance that out? And I think some of those guys tend to want to play outside structure more. I think Fields is leaning in that direction so far. So now you have to find that balance. Let me win within the flow of the offense, and then when things aren't there, let me win outside of it. So I think that's where he just needs to improve.
One final thing for you, Steve. Lamar Jackson said he's pretty sure the NFL hasn't figured him out yet. Is he right?
Yeah, to a point. I mean, it's one of those things that, Ramon, I'm sure when you go up against the star, you can only practice so much, and then you actually get on the field, it's like, oh, this guy's even quicker and stronger than I thought, or whatever it might be. I think Lamar still has that element to him, right? I mean, you could see scout team, QB power all you want, but once Lamar's out there running it, it's still faster and quicker, and he's more elusive than what you're used to. I think he does have that element in the NFL. What made him special 2 years ago was a little bit of taking the league by storm, but also he was throwing the ball at such a high level. So it really comes down to, is he going to execute? Is he going to throw the ball accurately like he did a couple years ago and continue to progress there? So I don't think the league is ready to stop him as a runner, but honestly, I think only Lamar could stop himself, because if the Ravens develop their passing attack and Lamar's a little bit more accurate, continues to make good decisions, yeah, they are going to be tough to stop. He's always subtly confident, though, which makes for a good story, and it'll be fun watching the league against Lamar again this year.
Great stuff, Steve.
Absolutely.
Always good to
Steve.
catch up with you. We look forward to it every week.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate it. That's Steve Palazzolo, PFF_Steve. Follow him on Twitter. Good stuff today. I wanted to ask him about Zach Wilson. We didn't get there. Zach Wilson has been lighting it up.
He has.
And what does that mean?
We'll get him week 3.
Yeah.
Week 4. Week 4, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That thing about Harry Douglas that I asked.
Yeah.
We hadn't talked about that, but I think we should. Harry Douglas, who knows Julio very well, obviously, said he's the best receiver in football now. I certainly can't get there because that's, again, like saying, man, Cam Newton's the MVP of the league. Right, in 2015.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means in 2021. Where would we rank Julio? I think that might be the discussion to have. And do you think it's fair for Harry Douglas to say that? 615-737-1045. 737-1045. Or on Twitter, of course, at JMart Ramon. Zone TV, everybody's hanging out there. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, hang out there. We'll be back in 5 here on 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine Bishop puts it all in layman's terms.
I don't know how you flip the switch from being in the huddle and then you talk to us completely different. So we all understand what it is that you're saying. That's a skill that you've got.
And to be honest, this is what I did as an actual player. Because I was a guy that learned differently. I was a visual guy. So we can talk about all the jargon we want to, and then go up there and put all the stuff, the fancy stuff on the board. That would have confused me. All it is this, and this. And that's what you want to put it in, and that's what I did for myself personally.
Blaine and Mickey this afternoon from 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon, and Nashville is one of the hottest housing markets in America. And if you're selling your home and want to know how much you can get here in Nashville, check out Open Door. Open Door invented a whole new way to sell your home, one without the hassles and hurdles of listings, showing, and all of the unknowns. Go to opendoor.com, enter your address, and tell them a little bit about your house, and they'll make you an offer in minutes, okay? You get to skip all the hard parts. You don't have to make any repairs yourself or do any prep work or have a bunch of showings. Get your free offer at opendoor.com/myoffer. That's opendoor.com/myoffer. And offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc., license 02061130 in California, Open Door Brokerage, LLC, and its other markets.
This is Jason with Tire World. Our annual at-cost tire sale is here. Now through Saturday, Tire World will sell all tire brands with no markup, 20% off installation, and give up to $100 on select
stronger together inside Floyd Stadium. Go Blue.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Traffic Center.
Jolton, 24 eastbound after Whites Creek Pike, we've got a crash. Antioch, 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway, there's an accident blocking the HOV lane. Use caution. Trinity Hill, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane, we've got a crash off on the right shoulder. And Division Street at 12th Avenue South, watch for an accident with emergency crews on the scene. No unusual delays on 440. We're looking good on 40 and 840. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Do you have a guy? Like, do you know who the guy is, regardless of whether or not you're willing to tell that publicly yet?
Don't have a guy that we're willing to name at this point. No, do not.
You call him Josh Heupel, I call him Josh Leipel. Because that's a lie.
Josh be lying?
I don't have to be able to spot that lie.
Oh, he didn't lie. He's not willing to reveal who it is.
Exactly.
You know
I
just
set that
saw?
question up so he would say what he did, which basically was, yeah, you know.
On Go Vols 24/7 headlining article. Peyton Manning knows who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Vols, but he's not talking. We believe it?
Probably.
Peyton knows.
Probably.
You think Peyton's talked to that guy?
Can we ask his forehead? Will it answer the question?
It's smart enough to.
It's smart enough to give an answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Harry Douglas is top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. He said this on ESPN. I think it was yesterday. Number 5, Stephon Diggs. Number 4, Tyreek Hill. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 2, Devontae Adams. Number 1, Julio Jones.
Steal.
Harry Douglas, who played here for a little while and played for a long time in Atlanta.
By the way,
Julio.
he's going to be a media star.
Yeah, he is. He's making his
He's
way.
got to be careful with takes like this.
Well, I mean, Ramon even started 8.
That's how you get going.
Year.
But yeah, Harry Douglas has a good chance to make something of himself in terms of the media side. Julio, where would you rank Julio today?
Still, his body of work is what it is.
I don't care about the body of work.
Mike Evans is still, I think, top 5 to me in some sense. Who else did we leave off of that group? Keenan Allen always gets overlooked.
Yep, I told you he's the most overlooked guy in the league.
I don't know if DK Metcalf is a top 5. I think he's top 10, top 12.
Let me ask you this. The reason I asked Steve Palazzolo whether AJ or Julio is going to have a better year was because I think there's a question to be asked as to whether or not AJ is actually a better receiver at this point.
I'm going to lean more into it, yes. I think he's going to be better. Is he better than Julio? I don't know right now. We're going to have to see that out. That's a take I'm not willing to have right now. But the question goes down to is, who is he going to trust more in those 3rd and 6s when he's got to have a first down, though?
Ferkser?
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's the tight end down.
Johnny Smith.
3rd and 6th.
You said John.
Delaney Walker.
Delaney.
Yeah, actually, I like the Delaney Walker answer from 4 years ago.
Look, Harry Douglas is very biased.
This guy.
Okay. He also said in 2015 that Julio Jones has a chance to go down as the greatest NFL player of all time, regardless of position.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen either. Is he generationally maybe the best receiver of this generation? We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of players believe that. A lot of other receivers believe that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that argument. I think him and Megatron are probably the two that you really think about.
In our era.
And then, of course, Randy.
If
I can be serious for a minute.
He's heavily biased, but I don't think they're reckless takes.
I wouldn't call it reckless. I would call it wrong.
Well, you can call it wrong.
In 2021, I would call it wrong.
But
in 2018,
the question you asked Steve Palazzolo is it right for him to say that? And Steve said, yeah, it's reasonable. It's reasonable.
Is it reasonable?
I don't agree with it. I think he's heavily biased, and I think I don't want to speak for Harry, but I'm going to speak for Harry. I think he's looking at it from a pure, raw wide receiver talent standpoint. And he had the best evidence of watching Julio Jones when he was in Atlanta.
No, I agree. And you can talk about all the great things that he's done, in practice and camp and how he looks and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. All I care about is what he's doing on Sundays in 2021. And if you put everybody underneath a heat lamp and said, who would you rather have, Julio or Devontae Adams, Julio or DeAndre Hopkins, Julio or Stephon Diggs, I feel like those would go in favor of those other guys every one of those times.
I don't think so on that one now. I don't know about that. I'm picking Julio, and I think over Stephon Diggs at this point.
I'm picking Stephon Diggs.
I'm taking
Diggs. Nah, I'm taking.
I don't know if Julio's healthy, Mo.
And DeAndre
It ain't
Hopkins.
about him. He's gonna play. Like I'm gonna play.
Dude, he missed half of last season. He missed games the year
course, and now
before.
he's
had a toe
healthier.
for 3 years.
Yeah,
the difference between being healthy and being able to play. There's a difference to that.
Yeah, it is, and he gonna play 100%. That's why I would take him over Stephon Diggs at this point. 100% would.
Okay.
I like Diggs.
Okay.
But I think he's more of a threat than Stephon Diggs is at this point. Diggs beat people with speed. AJ beats people with speed and size. He bodies folks.
Well, you mean Julio.
Julio, yeah. Well,
AJ
AJ does too.
Yeah, but AJ's a different argument.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we disagree on that one. But we've got the third hour of the show coming up. What are your thoughts on that? Harry Douglas's take on Julio being the number one receiver in football and where you would place Julio if you were ranking receivers. Did we leave some guys out as well? Those were just his top 5. Who else would you put in there that's not there? We can discuss that as well after the top of the hour headlines. JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
The last year has brought radio back into your home. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play 104.5 The Zone.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Lexicon, your holistic provider of practice management software and legal support services. 2021 will be remembered as the year baseball cracked down on spider tack and other foreign substances.
28-ounce Gatorade, available in a variety of flavors at your local Twice Daily store. Stop by your local Twice Daily store and pick up a 28-ounce Gatorade today. Download the Twice Daily Rewards app for more savings. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 1045 The Zone.
From the WinBet studio, Win with WinBet. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. The Titans and the Bears. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football. Trending now at 1045 The Zone.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel joined at JMart and Ramon early this morning in the 6 o'clock hour. He was asked the question, what is the starting quarterback situation next week? Who will be the starter? His coach's response.
Don't have a guy at this point. I do like the group as a whole, and appreciate what they've done. And I think our football team that surrounds those guys has great confidence in them as well.
Still non-committal in naming a starter. The Titans claimed offensive lineman Derwin Gray off of waivers, from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Additionally, the team placed Harold Landry on the reserve COVID list. Gray played in 5 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 2020 season. Haynes King's been named Texas A&M starting quarterback. He replaces Kellen Mond. Also, the Dodgers beat the Padres 5-3 in 16 innings early this morning. Baltimore snapped the 19-game losing streak by defeating Shohei Ohtani and the Angels 10-6. Sounds lost to Gwinnett 5-4 in 10 innings at First Horizon Park last night. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Now it's time for Jason Martin and Vol for Life Ramon Foster.
Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Together, they are JMart and Ramon on 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. JMart and Ramon, hour number 3 of the program on this Thursday. Here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Here in Nashville, allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville is where you want to go to learn more. NFL veteran, 11 years, Vol for Life, Ramon Foster. Vols playing Bowling Green 1 week from tonight. In a game that counts, Jonathan Schaefer, he always counts. Doesn't count well, but he can count to 5.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. And I'm Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. So what we were talking about there at the end of the hour, Harry Douglas, former teammate of Julio Jones, friend of Julio Jones, was on ESPN. He's in the media world now. And he said Julio's the best receiver in the NFL. He ranked the top 5, and it was Julio at 1. I think it was Devontae Adams. Then it was DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, and Stephon Diggs. And my question for Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, and then we addressed it as a show after that was, is that a fair take to have in 2021? And I don't think it's egregious. I agree with Schaefer. I don't think it's egregious to say that because Julio's an elite-level receiver. He's a generational talent, which I know Ryan Clark doesn't like that phrase. I saw him going at people saying, when did generational talent become something people say?
Oh, wow.
So he didn't care for that. But he's one of the great receivers of the century probably in the NFL.
Yeah.
First ballot Hall of Famer, all of that kind of thing.
Does, again, on that list, it goes Julio, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins,
Tyreek
Hill.
And that's the one where I would probably take Julio.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm honestly taking him over 4 and 5.
See, I'm not taking him over Stephon Diggs after what I saw last year. If I was just looking at what I saw in Minnesota, I could say, well, Adam Thielen made it a little easier on Stephon Diggs. But going to Buffalo and Josh Allen becoming a borderline MVP candidate with MVP-like numbers, who just got the most guaranteed money in a contract that we have ever seen, where the second receiver on that team was Cole Beasley, tells me Stephon Diggs is quite special.
He is quite special, but look at the rest of the unit. You said Cole Beasley is the other guy. Like, the ball's got to go through him, though. I mean, Stephon Diggs is that good, but, like, there was no other person to go to other than him, and he delivered. But I think if you put Julio in that situation, he does the same thing. I think if you put a multitude of other receivers, they do the exact same thing too. I think what happened with Josh Allen was the fact that he found out he's an NFL quarterback and he lived up to that billing. As far as talent compared to talent, I'm taking Julio over Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill. It's funny to me that Tyreek Hill's viewed as a wide receiver, and he is, but he does more gadget things than he actually does more wide receiver.
I mean, the reason
things.
he's valuable is because of speed. His hands aren't elite. They never have been. They've gotten better. And he doesn't have like the deepest route tree or anything. If you want to talk about pure talent, sure, we can put Julio there.
Yeah.
I'm saying in 2021, I don't know what Julio is in 2021. What I know is complimenting A.J. Brown makes them super dangerous. But if it's let me ask you this.
Okay.
You have the opportunity to have Julio Jones as the number one wide receiver in Tennessee in 2021 or A.J. Brown. Not both.
If I got to choose between one or the other, okay. Both have had injuries and have missed games, or at least we don't know what their status is going to be like on game day. They're both big. They're both fast. I know what I'm getting out of Julio. I suspect what I can get out of AJ.
Well, I mean, you got back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons out of AJ here.
Okay, and I got 10 years of that with Julio. For this year, in year 2021,
yes,
I'm taking Julio. I just am. I feel like I can trust the product a little bit more when it comes down to Julio.
You can trust the product if the product's available on the field.
If it's available, but they go the same thing for AJ at this point.
I'm aware of that.
They're both in the same boat. They hadn't had a straight week of practices at all. I'm talking about from period 1 to period 12 at the end of practice. Right now, they're both rocking the same boat when it comes down to emotions of what this offense is going to look like. So a guy like myself, I'm looking at Julio and saying, give me him. It made national headline news when Julio got off the plane and hugged John Robinson. Like, that effect absolutely happens on the field, too. Right now, I feel like teams are looking at AJ and saying, man, he could be. And he's had, like you said, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, but can he be covered by one person? Still, I feel like Julio is pulling two guys, period. I think it's right now. Until we see what AJ is going to do this season, I think he's going to have a good season. I'll say this. I honestly think he's going to have more yards because I feel like the alliance that he's built with Tannehill is going to say that, look, the ball comes to you first. And I feel like Julio doesn't have a problem with that simply because he knows that this is AJ's team. I do see those type of things happening.
Schaefer,
I'm taking Julio.
How would you answer that question?
I'm taking A.J. Brown.
You got AJ?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I got Julio on this one. For 1 year, I'm taking Julio.
And look, I think it's a good problem to have. I love Julio Jones. I'm just saying 2021, it's really hard because you look back at what he's done in his career, and you have to separate that because it doesn't matter what he's done to this point in his career.
And, Moan, my judgment is I just don't know how healthy Julio is. Now, your point is valid. When it comes to A.J. Brown's also coming back from injury.
True. Yeah.
There's also a decade of difference in terms of age, which gives me a little bit more confidence in terms of A.J. Brown and just the sheer numbers game of it all.
I thought the same thing, too. But what year is Nuck Hopkins in? Is he 9, 8, 9, 10 years in now?
Has he been in that long? I mean, he's
been
been there
while.
for a little. He's
It's
been
been
there for
a
a
while.
while. I don't think he's that old.
Nuck Hopkins is, as we pull up, receiving. He's got to be towards the top. DeAndre is in year 8.
Well, and he's 29.
This is going to year 9.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's 29 years old.
Yeah.
What receiver have we seen recently, just recently, that's dropped off the face of the earth when it comes down to production? Aside from AB's issues, Mike Evans is still crushing.
Mike Evans isn't that old.
But we're not suggesting
Mike
that
Evans is how many years into the league? Also, we're talking about like having the amount of years that they've had.
He's not 9 years in the league.
But we're not suggesting that Julio's going to necessarily drop off the face of the planet.
No.
I take Julio this year over the other. They both need each other for sure this year. And that goes to an even bigger question when we start breaking it down. If one or the other or both are out, what does this Titans offense actually look like too? That is a scenario we might have to deal with this year.
No, I agree. I mean, the insurance policy really helps you because the question I asked, if you could only have one, which one would you want, means you would want both of them.
Yeah,
There's no reason for me to ask that question. It's like, who would you rather have if you could just have one? A.J. Brown or Cam Batson? With all due respect to Cam Batson, you should take me off the air if I ask that question. Asking that question about A.J. and Julio is a different question to ask.
Okay. If there's a game where A.J. is out and Julio's in, do you feel confident that they can still win with them?
I don't feel any different.
Okay, what if it was flipped?
Don't feel any different.
You don't feel any different
No.
even still?
Nope.
I still think Julio warrants more attention than AJ at this current point.
I don't
No matter how big of a star he is becoming right now.
that he warrants more attention, but I think a lot of that is also he warrants attention because he's Julio Jones. And again, it's very difficult to separate all of what he's accomplished from what's happening now. I saw somebody, I think, tweet or ask us a question and said basically, if Julio goes and wins a Super Bowl in Tennessee, he's going to be remembered as a Titan and not a Falcon. And I say that's insane.
Not a chance.
He'll retire as a Falcon, but he'll always have a special place here in Tennessee.
I mean, if he were to win a Super Bowl, sure. But you're always going to think of him as a Falcon, not a Titan.
Yeah, he'll go into the Hall of Fame as probably both, but he'd probably get a bigger reception in Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, because Jerry Reed's a 49er. Excuse me, Jerry Rice. He's a 49er
Rice.
because,
Jerry
Seattle
Reed might
played
be.
with Jerry, well, rest in peace, Jerry Reed. But Jerry Rice, yeah, and look, he's had a good run with the Raiders and had a moment with the Seahawks. But that's the thing. You're going to be with the team that you made your hay with.
Yeah.
So that's the question. Keep it in mind. We're going to talk to Michael McCarthy at Front Office Sports. We're going to talk to him about what the shakeup at ESPN, what's happening in the morning on television there, and whether or not they're the critiques of Stephen A. Smith that are starting to pop up.
Also, Rachel Nichols news from yesterday.
Yeah, Rachel Nichols news. Just there's always stuff going on in sports business and what the alliance maybe could mean for television rights and things like that.
Nothing.
Yeah. A lot of conversation there, but the Julio conversation is one that I want to continue to have. We're going to have plenty of time for it. Because Mike's on the line, we're not going to get to it right now, Mike. Sorry, bro. But we will, man. I promise you we will. We'll get to if you're still around in the fourth hour, call us back because I do want your take on it, but we got to get out. Michael McCarthy, Front Office Sports, talk sports business with us on the other side. JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
There's only one place to get Ron Slay.
Because what we about to do as the SEC is take over. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all better be on the lookout. It's Trash Talk Friday, and I'm talking. We're going to get up to the top. We got the best cut man in the corner, Josh Heupel. We're gonna be okay.
Brent Doherty, Dawn Davenport, and Ron Slay take you on a sleigh ride during your drive home. The 3HL, today, starting at 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart. Are your appliances needing repairs? I told you already, Lead Company came out to my house on Tuesday for some electrical issues, but finding out that they can do things for even minor appliances can really help out with your to-do list. Popular brands, elite labels, whatever it is, Lead Company can offer expert home appliance troubleshooting, warranty work, and repair services. You can always depend on Lead Company for anything, but you can definitely depend on them to get there on time arrivals, on-the-spot repair quotes from highly trained, certified, friendly technicians. That's what happened with me on Tuesday. George came out, told me what was going on, said, hey, you know what? There's a couple bulbs I've got to go buy or go pick up. I'll come back. He got everything done within a couple hours, had to leave and go grab a couple of things to finish our job. Just awesome stuff. And it's always this way with Lead Company. They can help with all of your major appliances. That includes your refrigerator, your microwave, your dishwasher, your range, your freezer, your ice maker, your washing machine, your dryer, whatever it is. Lead Company can help get it back up to speed. Give them a call today, just like I did. 615-567-1000. That's 567-1000, or go to leadcompany.com and book your appliance service call today. You'll be glad you did with Lead Company.
Lately, we've been getting a lot of calls and questions about acoustic wave therapy for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. This is a relatively new treatment for ED, but one we've been using for years. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, it's
vehicle today at EchoPark.com. Echo Park Automotive. Lower prices, higher quality, better experience. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Love this tune. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Stores in Nashville. Guest appear via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, including this man, Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. So there's never a shortage of things to talk to you about. And I think let's start with Stephen A. Smith and what's happening with First Take, because Max Kellerman leaving potentially to go back into the radio deal and maybe another television show. But I think that the thing that I've been most intrigued by over this last few days is this narrative that's starting to emerge that Stephen A. Smith is difficult to deal with, that the decision was made so rashly that it indicates that Stephen A. was never a big fan of Max's and basically pushed him out the door. What's true about the Stephen A. Smith side of this story?
Number one, Stephen A. is relentlessly ambitious. Stephen A. is completely self-centered, which makes him just like everybody else in sports media. He wants to be number one at all times. He wants the show to be the Stephen A. show. He wants to eventually do a late-night show. He wants to do General Hospital. He wants the world. And right now, Stephen A., what Stephen A. wants, Stephen A. gets at ESPN. However, the second part of that question, I don't think he disliked Max Kellerman. I mean, they were on the air together for nearly 5 years, or it will be 5 years by the time Max leaves the show. I just think Stephen A. believes, and Dave Roberts, his boss, believes, that there just wasn't that magic, that spark that Stephen A. had with Skip Bayless. And if you saw, particularly in the last year or so, Stephen A. was increasingly dismissive towards Max on the air, especially when it came to the NBA. He was like, "You're not on my level," this kind of thing. And, you know, it came off as joking, but I took it as serious, and in fact, it was serious.
I saw it floating around. I'm not sure if it's an internet rumor or what, but the idea that Michael Irvin
I saw that too.
Be in that seat next to him. Where is this from?
Yeah, actually, Front Office Sports broke that story. That is under serious consideration. You would have Michael Irvin come in as probably the biggest name in a rotating series of guests, where every day somebody else would debate Stephen A. Smith, and it would be Stephen A. Smith versus the world. And the natural spot to put Michael Irvin would be NFL Mondays, because we all know Skip Bayless loves to talk nothing about the Cowboys, particularly on NFL Mondays. So now you'd have the ultimate Cowboy legend sitting across from Stephen A. Smith, who's the ultimate Cowboys hater. It could really be fireworks.
It could. It could also be unlistenable or unwatchable for some people, because I remember when Irvin would come on and do guest hits, and it would be so over the top that it would be difficult to deal with.
Do you remember those shows where they went to Dallas?
Yes.
And they had Irvin in the chair opposite Stephen A. I mean, Irvin sweated through 3 suits just in the commercial break. He practically levitated out of his chair. So, yeah, I mean, it's either a question of get your popcorn ready or get your earplugs ready, or both.
So, Stephen, the other thing I would wonder is, you talked about the magic that may not have been there with Max, and I would tend to agree. Whether you like the Stephen A. Skip dynamic or not, a lot of people watched that show. Do you think if Stephen A. really had his druthers, he'd like to have Skip back in that other seat?
No doubt. They're like, unrequited lovers pouring at each other and writing love notes. I mean, these two have never made any secret that they're dying to work together again, that, what they had was special and irreplaceable. They call each other their brother from another mother. And don't forget, we're dealing about human beings. Right now, Stephen A. is at top of the world. 10 years ago, he wasn't. He was out at ESPN. His show was canceled, and Skip picked him up off the scrap heap and put him on First Take. Stephen A. remembers that favor.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. I remember when he started popping up kind of out of nowhere, and then he would show up, and he would do like Fridays, and then I would tune in on Fridays because at least early on, I really enjoyed the banter between the two of them, and you could tell they did care about each other. And that was, that was a positive. Whether you like those personalities or not, those two guys were genuine friends that respected each other, knew each other's families, and cared about helping the other guy out.
Exactly. And if they have their druthers, and who knows, they'd love to work together again. Question is, what network would be willing to pay, a combined, $20 million or whatever it would take to put them together on the show? It would have to be more than just a morning debate show. You'd have to give them Monday Night Football and all sorts of things. So I think the chances of that are unlikely, but who knows?
Yeah, so, and Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports is with us. I'm going to ask you a larger question about the Stephen A. Skip model. And Stephen A. obviously doing Kimmel, and a lot of things are going his way, and he's making a ton of money, and so is Skip. But have we reached a point where we are now in diminishing returns when it comes to the hot take side of sports talk radio, the opinion shows on TV with the talking heads that used to write for newspapers and are now wearing suits for 30 minutes with Tony Reali scoring them and things like that? Are we moving to a place where the new hot take is actually the thoughtful take, and it's a lot more, it's nowhere near as kind of combative as it's been in the past?
Yeah, I think that's a great insight. I'd like to see that happen because a lot of these hot take shows, besides the two originals, have fallen by the wayside. They can't draw flies. Take a look at First Things First or, some of these other dog shows over on FS1. So I'd like to see, it become a more thoughtful, nuanced take. However, ask yourself this question. Who's the highest paid person at ESPN?
Right. Yeah, it's Stephen A.
Stephen A. Who's the highest paid person at Fox?
Skip.
Even higher than Troy Aikman.
Yep.
Skip. So those shows still have tremendous value, or they wouldn't be the highest paid people at that network.
Maybe it's just the second tier version of that isn't working, but those two guys are such monoliths that it doesn't matter for them. They exist past that, even though maybe that kind of thing is falling by the wayside.
Right. They're the godfathers. They're the OGs of this format. You know what I mean? The copycats and the lesser lights, they're going to fall by the wayside because they're not as good at it.
So,
but, these guys have their audience, and they're going to keep it.
What makes a good show like that, no matter what platform it is? Because, like you said, everybody's got them. But what actually makes them go? I thought Max Kellerman was really good. And here he is getting the gold boot right now because it wasn't clicking. What actually gets it to click then?
I've talked – it's a great question. I've asked a lot of producers this question. I think the answer is twofold. What works in a show like that is if somebody are truly friends, and the viewers can notice that. No matter how heated they might get, that Skip and Stephen A. respect each other.
Yeah.
You know that Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon are old friends and respect each other. The other extreme is if you have two people who genuinely dislike each other. Then that could work. But if somebody's just indifferent to the other and doesn't feel like they're bringing it on the same level, or they're on the same level in terms of arguments, in other words, Skip and Max Kellerman, then it doesn't work.
No, that makes sense. I think the other story, I guess sticking with the four-letter, is Rachel Nichols. Rachel Nichols, tried to bend the knee and do all that she could do after everything went down. Maria Taylor leaves for NBC, and then you find out they're canceling The Jump anyway, and she's off all NBA programming.
Yeah, I feel that this is a very serious move by ESPN. You know what I mean? Nobody agrees with what Rachel Nichols said on that tape call. At the same time, you have a situation where she was surreptitiously taped by an ESPN colleague who then leaked that tape to the New York Times to potentially destroy her career. That's very serious. So I don't think we've heard the end of this. Rachel Nichols is out. ESPN, you know what I mean, from what I'm hearing, is going to pay her through the rest of her deal, which still has a year on it. But could there be legal action? I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow. This is very interesting to me. So across all sports, we're getting news all the time. Are we getting to a point where it seems like, especially on the football side at the beginning of the season, it's kind of a little bit too scripted? Like we had a lot of the franchises last week saying quarterback A is QB1 to start off the season. We heard the Trevor Lawrence announcement. We've seen the Chicago Bears announcements. 49ers have said they're sticking with Jimmy G. Like, does it get to a soap opera type level now with the way everything is being pushed out?
Well, it just gets so boring and repetitive. You know what I mean? It's that feeling where you get to the Super Bowl 3 hours early and you just can't wait for the games to start. We're tired of hearing the same arguments with Trey Lance and Dak Prescott. start the games already. You know what I mean? So I think right now, fans are just like, let's just get through this till we get to the games. The NFL is by far the most popular sport. People are ready to gamble on it like never before. You know what I mean? I think you got to get through these dead zones that you talk about where it just gets really, tiring to get to the thing that we all want, the main events.
But even so, we're getting a preview a little bit to one of those teams, and that's the Star. That's Dallas right now on Hard Knocks, and that seems to be that's not going as well as they thought it was going to go, although some people are starting to push back on it. Do they need to revisit where they're airing Hard Knocks at?
I don't think it's a Hard Knocks problem. I'm going to put something out here, guys. Now, not a lot of people are going to agree with me, but I think that sports is being impacted by the same thing, the entertainment. I think the inclusion of politics and political debates has turned some fans off of sports who used to think sports was an escape from that. I mean, we've had 2, 3, 4 years of nothing but politics, Trump and Hillary and Biden and kneeling and the other things. People just want to escape. But, you know what I mean? Sports won't let you escape it anymore. You saw that during the Olympics with all the political protests by players. So I think that there's a percentage of fans who have turned off and stopped watching. I mean, look at those Hard Knocks ratings. That's astounding. This is the Dallas Cowboys, the number one team in the NFL, American team, and those ratings are down. They shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't be. One thing that I think, and I know because I've seen one of your stories recently about this, SummerSlam was last week. We've had a couple of WWE guys. We had Drew McIntyre on. We've had Baron Corbin on. I worked in that industry for a decade. I've been approached over the last few days about bringing back a podcast that I'd hosted for a long period of time about the industry. I'm looking at this fall, Michael, and knowing you are too. This is probably the biggest interest level pro wrestling has had since, I would say, 1998. Because of some of the free agents that have moved to the competition from WWE. CM Punk's a huge name to arrive on TNT. Daniel Bryan is about to be the next one. Many think Adam Cole is also going to be there. How close a look are you taking at pro wrestling right now, considering record profits for WWE and real competition and money being put into that competition from the cons?
Very closely, because a couple of reasons. One, front office sports is devoting a lot more coverage to professional wrestling than we ever did. We did a story about Domino's Pizza getting all worked up because, they were slicing each other's head open with a pizza cutter, and we've done a lot of stories like that. And there's two things. One, as you said, wrestling is exploding in popularity. You got all these free agents. You got all this buzz. And two, you've got people from the sports media business, Nick Khan, Jamie Horowitz, people who used to run networks now going over to run organizations like the WWE. So that makes it even more interesting because now there's a crossover between mainstream sports and professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bill Simmons, who did the Andre the Giant documentary a few years ago, the Ringer, they're ever expanding. But Simmons, one of the first things I knew about Bill Simmons when he was writing Page 2 at ESPN, on ESPN2, was that he was a pro wrestling guy. And so now they've entered into a big deal along with Spotify and the Ringer, along with WWE specifically to provide a bunch more podcasts and original series and documentaries and all this kind of thing. It just seems like the trend line is going back in the direction of pro wrestling about to potentially experience another boom phase.
Yes. I mean, pro wrestling to me seems a lot like sports betting. It, used to be sort of, on the down low and you weren't supposed to like it or even approve of it. And now that's gone by the wayside. I mean, you look at my colleagues in the sports media business, Richard Deitch, Jimmy Trainer, they write about pro wrestling all the time. They're big wrestling fans. Bill Simmons, one of the biggest wrestling fans. Like you said, he just did a deal with the WWE, Ringer, and Spotify. So, I mean, the idea that, wrestling can't be covered anymore, by mainstream sports outlets, the traditional sports outlets, it's dead and buried. That's like an old Sports Illustrated kind of thinking.
Older, maybe, a question that you can look at because there's been a little bit of data now. How has it gone for UFC and ESPN, the partnership? When they announced the deal there, they started putting their events on ESPN Plus. How has that played out for both Dana White and everybody at UFC as well as ESPN?
I think it's been playing out very well. I think UFC, you know what I mean, needs to manufacture new stars. I mean, the whole Conor McGregor thing has run its course. You know what I mean? And Dana White is very good at that. Every time people thought the UFC was down and out, he would come up with a Ronda Rousey or a Conor McGregor or a Nate Diaz or a Brock Lesnar, whoever it was, you know what I mean, would come up out of nowhere. So I think ESPN is happy with the deal. Also, to this point, I think ESPN still has a lot of that traditional sports thinking. So I think the ESPN suits would always be in favor of being in business with a real sport like mixed martial arts rather than entertainment like pro wrestling.
Not to get on the political side of it on the way out, because we already talked about how we didn't really want to do that, but how concerned are you, and maybe from a business perspective, how concerned should people involved be in the idea of the variant, vaccine requirements, and how that could affect stadiums being filled, especially in the NFL, but maybe also in college football and other sports venues throughout the rest of this year?
Wow, that is going to be a huge challenge. We just did a story on this in Front Office Sports about the Saints and the Raiders asking for vaccination proof or proof of a negative COVID test to get admittance to the stadium. I think you're going to see more and more teams do this, more and more teams make this requirement to fans. And how is that going to go over with the fan base? What if somebody doesn't want to get vaccinated? Are they going to get vaccinated to keep their Saints season tickets, or are they going to give them up? And how are these security guards going to check people's COVID vaccination papers? You know, they got enough time. They got a hard enough time patting people down and checking their bags for beer cans. You know what I mean? Now they're going to be doctors and healthcare workers.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a logistical nightmare, and the idea that the Raiders will give you the shot on site to get into the stadium and then you wear a mask anyway, like the whole thing sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. But it's a complexity. I'm glad it's not part of my job.
Yeah, it's not only a disaster waiting to happen, but it's a disaster because there's going to be so many differing rules.
Yes.
There's 30 NFL stadiums, right? That means 30 NFL localities, states, cities are going to have their own different mask requirements and mask mandates and vaccination mandates. Some people are going to ask for it. Some people are going to demand it. Other people are going to let you. And everybody's going to be in total confusion.
Great stuff, Mike. I knew we would have just the segment's over. I just realized we've got to get to break now. But just tremendous stuff as always. We love Front Office Sports. We love having you on, and we look forward to the next opportunity.
Thank you, guys. Really enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. That's Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports. I'm telling you, man. We talked about this on Monday, and the reason why I felt like, yeah, you know what, we can do a couple minutes on pro wrestling is because SummerSlam was the number one trend on Twitter on Saturday. CM Punk was the number one trend on Twitter on Friday. Last night, I believe he was also the number one trend on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Pro wrestling's about to explode. It already is. And there's multiple organizations, and this happened in '96, and it led to pro wrestling becoming a cultural touchstone. Getting out of, I mean, that's why you know about Steve Austin and The Rock. And there is no The Rock today, if not for what took place in 1998 and 99 and 2000 and beyond. So there's going to be more coming just about pro wrestling in general. You're going to start seeing it pop up everywhere. Yeah. It looked like the pandemic might put it under, but these free agent moves and real competition on a network with history and a group with money makes it really interesting. No question about it. And so I'm not surprised at all to see that McCarthy's written multiple stories on pro wrestling this month alone at Front Office Sports. When we come back, I'm not going to be surprised if Moan knows nobody.
I'll get a few.
We'll do birthdays. Blake Lively is a woman. Blair Underwood is a man. So that's a starting point, is let's get the gender correct.
Hey, no, these days you can be whatever you
Let's get the sex right.
You can be whatever you want to.
When we come back, JMart and Ramon, birthdays here on 104.5 The Zone.
It's the third and final preseason game, and the Titans welcome Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears to Nissan Stadium. Thank you, NFL, for shortening the preseason and giving us an extra regular season game. What a catch! Mike Keith and Coach Mack have the kickoff Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football and flagship for Titans radio. 104.5 The Zone.
Lately, we've
Emergency crews on the scene. No problems coming in 65 or 40. Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard at Scoville Street. We've got an accident. This report brought to you by Jiffy Lube. At Jiffy Lube Multicare, their job is to keep your vehicle running right by changing old parts for new to help avoid costly repair bills down the road. They fix the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. And Jiffy Lube proudly features Pennzoil. Not just oil, Pennzoil. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Thanks to Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports for popping in. Always good chatting with him.
He's terrific.
He really is. Really enjoy his appearances here on the show.
But his birthday segment.
It is indeed. I was looking to see if I could find you some good sports ones. See David Johnson. His birthday today.
Which
34.
one?
I think the running back.
Oh. I was going to say, there's been a lot of David Johnson.
I know.
A lot of them.
A lot of good basketball ones. This would be a good day for Slay. James Harden's 32. Morris Peterson, Mo Peters 44. That great Michigan State team with him and Mateen Cleaves.
James Harden looked 42 at the beginning of last season.
Yeah, he did on purpose. Like, screw that.
Stan Van Gundy is 62.
Stan Van. I love Stan Van.
I like him on TV. I don't need to see him on the sidelines.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not a coach.
Enjoyed him a lot on Levitard's show, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's
all worked with Iron Eagle doing NBA before he went back to coaching. Yep.
Iron Eagle, best in the business. All right, Moan, you're the worst in the business.
Here we go.
Especially when it comes to this segment.
Nah, I doubt it.
Money.
Okay.
That was meant ironically.
Branford Marsalis is 61, Moan.
Arrested Development. Marsalis. I know Chicken Marsala. Not it?
Oh, my God.
Moan, do you know who Wynton Marsalis is?
I have no clue who that is.
Jazz musician.
You being a music guy, I thought you'd have known that.
But
I bet I know the band. Tell me the band.
I mean, Branford Marsalis, Wynton Marsalis, they're jazz musicians. It's like Miles Davis.
Do
John
not know
Coltrane.
I missed
Branford
that one.
Marsalis was what's the first time you knew who Branson Marsalis was? Shave.
And what?
To me, it was Jay Leno's.
Yes,
he was Jay Leno's band leader.
That's exactly right. Yep.
On the Tonight Show.
Yes, at one point he was.
At one point, yes.
Yeah, before
Definitely didn't know who that was.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible, Moan.
Yeah, the Marsalis family when it comes to jazz.
Yeah. Chris Pine, 41.
Chris Pine, DC.
DC what?
Suicide Squad. Cover all bases. Chris Pine. I feel like this is a superhero type of guy.
We'll give you this. Science fiction.
I'm going to give you this one, Moan. But I want to see how far you can take it.
Guardians? No.
No, that's Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Yep. Chris.
And no, it didn't feel right.
I don't know. Tell me.
I could see it feeling right. Chris Pine was his name escapes me right now, but it was Wonder Woman's boyfriend.
Captain Kirk.
And he was Captain Kirk in Star Trek, the remake of Star Trek. And he's done a bunch of other stuff. Very talented actor.
Some pretty good movies.
Yeah.
I got people telling me I should know that one.
You should know what?
Q just texted me saying I should know the jazz.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not thrilled that you didn't get that one, man.
Zach Bunch has already dropped an exasperated Fozzie Bear on you.
Well, I know you got no chance at Shirley Manson, who turned 55 today.
Is that Marilyn's wife?
I like that guess, though. You know what? That one felt right.
Shirley Manson was the lead singer of a band called Garbage.
It was close in a lot of different ways.
Garbage is definitely close to you in this segment, huh?
It might have been different.
I guarantee you'll get this. Melissa
Trash.
McCarthy, 51.
Absolutely. I know who that is.
Who is it?
Bridesmaids.
Yeah, that's right.
All of that.
She was in Bridesmaids.
Absolutely. I know the silly movies most times.
Steve Trevor was Chris Pine's character name.
Oh,
I had no
in
idea.
Wonder Woman.
And Wonder Woman.
I haven't seen either one of those the whole way
Pine.
through yet.
I knew that one. God.
First one's terrific.
Yeah, I heard the second one was kind of trash.
No, I didn't hate it.
It got mixed reviews.
It was a little long and tried to accomplish too much, I would say.
That's what she said.
Step away from the board right now.
Corner, 15 minutes. You.
Timeout.
Top off.
Good Lord, man.
That was really good.
I don't know what to say.
That rescued this whole segment.
Macaulay Culkin's 41.
Oh, Willow, baby, the good son.
Did you say Willow?
No,
he said
Come
Home
on,
Alone.
Chomp. What are you
Home
doing
Alone.
over?
Okay, I thought you said Willow.
I said the good son too.
No, the good son's right, and that's
Good Son
that's a
was
nice deep
dark.
take.
Yeah. Well, that may have been one of the best you've ever had there, Ramon.
I like that movie.
You had
actually.
2 movies from him,
I
right?
did. He was a childhood hero. Of
You would have
mine.
said Michael Jackson. I'd have slapped you.
Neverland. No, Zach Bunch is not tomatoes. I've done well today.
Kayla Maroney face.
Kayla Maroney.
Mike Coulter, 45. Last
Mike
one today.
Coulter. Friday after next. Trespass with Ice-T.
Jeez.
Colors.
Well, he's done a lot of stuff, but superhero guy as well.
Superhero guy. Crush Groove.
He played Luke Cage. Netflix series.
I had no idea. No idea.
Same page.
He's
You
in
and me,
Jessica
buddy.
Jones as well.
He was in. Is that a person or a movie?
What?
Never mind.
Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are both
Characters.
people, characters.
I know where you were going.
Series were named after both.
I know where that was going, Moan. I wasn't going to dignify it with further response.
I didn't hear any of this.
You're
Fourth
fine.
hour of the show.
You're good.
Fourth hour of the show is coming up next. What's going on?
Moan was being dirty-minded.
Filthy mouthed.
Juicy.
You are juicy mouthed.
Juicy Soros.
Fourth hour of the program is coming up. After the headlines, we'll jump back into it. Julio or AJ for a season. Harry Douglas has Julio as the number 1 wide receiver in football. Is that take okay to have in 2021? All of that, plus we'll let you hear Josh Heupel again. He joined us off the top of the show, and a lot of you might not have been quite awake for that because you're all slackers. Slay woke up, listened to that, and then went back to sleep.
Yeah, he's back
Of course
on
he
nap
did.
time.
We got the fourth hour of the hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio straight ahead.
You really think I be listening to you? I ain't listening to you.
Coming up today on the 3HL.
It's Thirsty Thursday. What are y'all thirsty for?
I'm thirsty for football. And if you're talking football, you know who we need to talk to? Greg Cosell. He's
coming in 65 or 40. Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard at Scoville Street, we've got an accident. This report brought to you by Jiffy Lube. At Jiffy Lube Multicare, their job is to keep your vehicle running right by changing old parts for new to help avoid costly repair bills down the road. They fix the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. And Jiffy Lube proudly features Pennzoil. Not just oil, Pennzoil. I'm Christy O'Brien with traffic on your home for Titans football, 104.5 The Zone.
From the WinBet studio, Win with WinBet. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. The Titans and the Bears. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football. Trending now at 104.5 The Zone.
It is 9:03. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Tennessee's head coach Josh Heupel joined JMart and Ramon early this morning. He was asked the question, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Vols when they play Bowling Green a week from today? It was the answer.
Don't have a guy at this point. I do like the group as a whole, and appreciate what they've done. And I think our football team that surrounds those guys has great confidence in them as well.
If you missed any of that conversation, we will be playing it for you for this late crowd here this morning in about 20 minutes. The Titans claimed offensive lineman Derwin Gray off waivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Additionally, the team placed Harold Landry on the reserve COVID list. For Gray, he played in 5 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 2020 season. Major League Baseball, it ended early this morning. Dodgers beat the Padres 5-3 in 16 innings. Baltimore snapped a 19-game losing streak by defeating Shohei Ohtani and the Angels 10-6. Sounds lost to Gwinnett 5-4 in 10 innings last night at First Horizon Park. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home. The Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Now it's time for Jason Martin and Vol for Life Ramon Foster.
Powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Doors.
Together, they are JMart and Ramon on 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth hour, the hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon us. We're blessed to bring it to you courtesy of all 4 Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. What's happening? What's going on? 11-year NFL veteran, Vol for Life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. 615-737-1045 is how you reach the program. 737-1045. We had Josh Heupel 5 minutes into the show this morning. And if you missed that, we're going to give you a second opportunity to hear it coming up. 1 week away from week 1 for the Vols. And there's football being played on Saturday. 5 games. Nothing particularly stand out, but guess what? I'm still probably going to be sitting there with it on.
Oh, yeah. Definitely going to be tuned into it because, that's officially football season in the state of Tennessee when it fully breaks down to it as far as toxic Vol and Toxic Titan Twitter. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Be all up in there.
It's going to be fun, he says with tongue planted firmly in his cheek.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Man, look, Jeff Schwartz will be on tomorrow. The bane of his existence, he's told me this for years, is holding Twitter. People that tweeted him and say everything was a hold. Because they don't understand what a hold actually is
as
in
a
the
former
NFL.
offensive lineman, of course he's going to feel that way.
Yes.
Of course.
Because never is anyway holding.
Never. Absolutely not. I actually had my son this past weekend. Well, no, it was the Monday night game. He was like, Dad, look at that guy he's holding. I was like, no, Miles. He's controlling that guy. It's not holding when you control him.
Speaking of that,
Yeah,
actually, Brian Rice, I talked to him yesterday and listened to a part of Eric Ainge's show in Knoxville yesterday as well. Eric Ainge paid you a very high compliment in mentioning he doesn't think he ever got sacked where it was your responsibility and that you cleaned up a lot of plays as well. So EA,
wow,
despite his sketchy memory.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if I trust Eric Ainge's memory.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Despite his sketchy memory, was very complimentary on his show of you yesterday.
That's my quarterback.
He also
QB
talked about
Snake.
He also talked about the troughs at Neyland Stadium and how they got to go too.
Yeah,
Dude, they're disgusting. Troughs at stadiums got to go, period.
Man, when I went to Fenway,
That's
and saw there
where
was a
COVID
trough,
came from.
whoo, No, COVID came from the traveling hot tubs here in Nashville. I'm convinced of that.
If they can put that "I will give my all for Tennessee" sign above every exit at the
You
stadium,
should put them above the troughs.
they can get rid of the troughs. Hey,
No, they need to put those above the troughs.
Yeah.
I will pee my all. I will give my all for Tennessee.
Yeah, when you're leaving the bathroom, it says, "I gave my all for Tennessee."
Gave my all, man. It was kind of interesting. I saw where he said it was in his office, and somebody brought up to him, well, maybe we should make everybody feel included in leaving the stadium when they can slap the sign. I don't know. It's interesting. Everything's a sale these days, man.
Hand sanitizers right there, too.
No.
I mean,
there's no mandate either, so there we go there.
It's a different day.
Oh boy, I did say call back at 9.
You did.
We were talking about a topic that Mike will probably bring us right back to. Here is Cuzzo Mike, the only man in radio with walk-up music as a listener, member of the fam, prime member of the fam. What's up, Mike?
What up, Jay? What up, man? How y'all gonna put me on straight after the trough talk, man?
Yep.
I feel
you brought jailhouse snacks here.
Hey, that's different, man. That's birthday honey bun cakes and noodles and stuff, bro. That's different. But hey, Mon, you my dog, and I never tried to go against you until now. Now I gotta cut you, okay?
That's the rule.
Now I gotta cut you like Della Reed. I got to.
Let's hear it.
How
Mike.
you gonna say? How you gonna say? You gonna take Julio over AJ when you was riding with me all off season about not getting Julio, and now you want Julio?
You know why I was riding with you about not getting him?
Go ahead.
Because I honestly didn't think he was going to come here. I did not. Like, I didn't think it was a factor into saying, like, I choose him over AJ. Those are two different things. Don't move the goalposts on me now.
Okay, all right. Then let's ask this right here. We got AJ. Obviously, regardless of what anybody say, the Tigers is for real knocking on the door of the Super Bowl. Regardless of what Zach say or Denver fans say, we knocking on the door of. Oh, my bad. My Denver homeboy picked us to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. My bad. But we knocking on the door of the Super Bowl. So if AJ or if you, the GM, had to line up Diggs and Julio and give a first-round pick for him, you still going to take Julio over Diggs? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking Diggs because Diggs is going to give me all 16, 17 games. Julio could give me what? Is going to give me 8, 9 games. And then to even seal the deal, if Julio get hurt this season, is it really going to be a surprise? If Julio was out for a few games and is in therapy, is that going to be a surprise? Julio definitely worth a third pick, but that boy Diggs, he worth the first round pick all day long. Maybe even a first round pick and a third round pick.
But that's all circumstantial though, Mike. That's all because Diggs is way younger than what Julio is at this point. Also,
that point Ramon was making, Mike. That's accurate.
No. We're talking about
if you're giving up a draft pick, you're not giving up something for 1 year. You're not giving up a first round draft pick for 1 year.
Okay. Still, even if we didn't have AJ, you still gonna take Julio over Diggs. I'm gonna take Diggs.
Well, so am I.
I'm gonna take Diggs.
I'm taking Julio.
I mean, you can't keep on living off of what you did before. We're talking about what you gonna deliver next year. Next year, Julio was gonna deliver highlights. As far as the team go, AJ and Diggs, yes, because they are young. But that's what we're talking about next year. What is the team? What are you gonna do for the team? Not your highlight reel. I need that team, not the highlight reel. So yeah, I would definitely take Diggs over Julio, and I'm definitely taking AJ over Julio because it's better for the team, not your highlights, not your resume.
It's about
that's what I wanted to say.
Right now,
Mike. What?
He moved the goalpost a lot in that conversation.
Well, the only thing I will say to where I disagreed with him is on a first round pick. If you're taking one, you're taking Diggs, because if you're giving up a first round draft pick and you're expecting 3 to 5 years of production, Julio at his age, I think, is almost a year-to-year proposition to some degree with the health. Now, if he comes out and he plays the full season this year, I don't care if he's not practicing right now, to be honest. Not too much, because he's kind of always been this guy.
Yeah.
He's not been somebody that practices all the time. He's a superstar level player that's played in the league for a decade, and you want him on Sundays. I don't care what he's doing Wednesday. I said this yesterday. I don't care what he's doing Wednesday afternoon at St. Thomas Sports Park. If I'm giving up a first-round draft pick, I'm giving it up for a young stud wide receiver. If I'm giving up a first-round draft pick, I'm probably giving it for AJ, right? Like a guy like that.
Yeah.
A guy that's young, that's about to go into his prime. Now, Stephon Diggs is what, 30? 29, 30?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood?
Uh-huh. Stephon Diggs is 28, I think.
Is he only 28?
Yeah. From last I checked, a second ago.
I mean, he's a stud. He doesn't have the size Julio does. But what he did for Josh Allen is why I would look. Here's where I disagreed with you, Mom, because you said you would take him over 4 and 5, and this is all based on Harry Douglas putting a top 5. Okay, see, I didn't think he was that young or that old. The top 5 for Harry Douglas on ESPN, he had put Julio at number 1, best receiver in football, then Devontae Adams, then DeAndre Hopkins, then Tyreek Hill, and then Stephon Diggs. And you said you'd take him over Hill and Diggs. I said I'd consider it over Hill just because Hill's kind of a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
In
but
what he does.
But he's dangerous.
He's dangerous,
right.
But he's not going to be your wide receiver 1. He's got to come complimentary. He's a player that needs another.
The Kansas City system.
And they have it. They've got Kelsey, and they've got Mahomes, and they've got Hardman, and they got a bunch of different guys. So I could see putting Julio above Tyreek. I can't see putting him over Stephon because Stephon just made a huge difference in Josh Allen's bank account and his career. And he was knocked for being a diva in Minnesota, and that he was just a product of Adam Thielen, that both of them were products of each other. No, they're both just really good. And Stephon Diggs went to Buffalo and proved that. So here's where I would almost agree with you on Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying Julio's not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. I'm just saying number 1 from Harry Douglas has a whole lot of bias behind it.
And I agree with that. But what I'm saying is this. Stephon Diggs was the league leader in receiving yards last year. And yet and still, I don't think you're putting him as the number 1 overall wide receiver in the NFL right now.
I gave him top 3 last year. Remember I said DeAndre,
also.
It was DeAndre and Devontae and him, whatever order you wanted. At least at one point last year I said it was him.
Yes. But to me, are you taking DeAndre or Devontae over Diggs also?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. Like he's not the definitive number 1 wide receiver in the world.
Well, I don't think there is necessarily definitive when you've got Hopkins and Adams and it's 1A and 1B.
And think about this. There is a 32-year-old wide receiver right now that still are in people's top 5 right now. You even had Stephon Diggs say that, look, Julio is the best of our generation right now. And even if we don't get all 17 games from him this year, I think he's a bigger threat on the field, honestly, until proven otherwise. We talk about past and history. AJ's done it in 2 years. Julio has not hit his mark.
Well, the point there, though, Moan, is are you then just saying that any of the speculation that you've heard that he has lost a half step, that he's not quite what he used to be, that you're just pushing back and saying none of that's true?
I'm going to tell you this. Julio's at a point in his career to where camp means nothing to him. Hit me up when it's game plan time. I've seen older vets, breeze through camp, legitimately not practice and still have all Pro Bowl seasons. That happens. Why put tread on his legs right now if the toe was an issue?
Dude, well, we agree. What you're saying, I agree with that. I'm not even suggesting that. I'm looking at every possible side of this. Like, the fact that he's not practicing doesn't really worry me because, again, his history is he hasn't done that a lot.
Really? Yeah.
In his career. I'm okay if he's doing everything on Sunday. I'm just wondering, that doesn't have anything to do with my question. My question was, but to the criticisms that you've heard for a few years now that, yeah, he's not quite what he was. He's not as fast as he was. It's not 2017. He's lost a half step. There's got to be some truth to some of that.
We'll see.
So are you saying that's not true? You think he's exactly as fast as he was a decade ago and all of that kind of thing?
No, time always gets you. What I'm telling you, his effectiveness of his play is still – Look how long Larry Fitzgerald honestly has still played well in this league in his upper 30s.
Yeah,
he slowed down, but he still found ways.
He wasn't a speedster anyway, though.
But he still found. Boom! There it is. He wasn't a speedster. You think Julio's not savvy enough to evolve his game? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know if Julio wants to take hits over the middle like Larry Fitzgerald has
but
a lot of times.
If speed isn't the issue, as it
know,
wasn't for Larry Fitzgerald.
I know we're way over, but it's such a good conversation to have. And there's not really necessarily a wrong answer. It's all just
really
opinions.
Ain't. And you want them both.
I mean, Ramon's wrong, but that's all right.
No, not on this one.
Who do you think Atlanta would rather have this year, Julio or Calvin Ridley?
Calvin Ridley. But they're also trying to fit under a cap also.
Well, they would have kept Julio if not for the cap
100%.
garbage they were in.
And Julio, and let's not forget what's his name did on the network by outing him.
Oh, Shannon.
Oh, Shannon.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel joins us at 6:05 this morning. If you missed that conversation, you'll get a chance to hear it again.
That was
Tennessee Vols.
That was
coach.
WCW
It
Saturday
was,
night.
man.
Yeah.
Orlando Wilson Fishing Show just ended.
Sorry for interrupting.
Here coming up next, here comes the Jim Crockett Promotions. We'll be right back. JMart Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
The Titans and Bears end the preseason together in Nashville. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6 on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Hi, guys. It's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic.
of the entire campus, and on and off the field. So for a guy like you that's been called the quarterback whisperer in a sense, what are you expecting from that guy behind center?
I think one of the attributes that they have to have is just being a fearless, fierce, great competitor. And that competitiveness drives them in the way that they work every day, not just when they're supposed to be in the building, but when they have time off. And they're the first ones in, the last one out. The players around them inside the locker room see the time and energy and effort that they're putting into preparing the right way during the season, during the off season. That competitive nature is something that can infiltrate your entire football team and transcend to it. And I think that's really important. I think they got to have some energy as far as leadership characteristics and traits, and that people are naturally drawn to them. I've never been around a great one that doesn't have that trait. And ultimately, if they're going to be in some ways the face of your program, they got to be able to represent you the right way. And on the field, the first thing the quarterback's got to do is earn trust. And I say that just because they got the ball in their hands. They're going to be a decision maker. It's not always about making the play. It's about not making the bad play, but playing on an edge and giving yourselves a chance to go make plays too. So, our guys have grown so much. I mean, the fundamentals and the technique of where we were during spring ball to who they are now. Just excited about this group.
We've heard OC Alex Galesh say that he is uber excited about the running back position. I think when everybody mentions your offense, they always think about passing downfield. Just how important are these running backs to this offense, and what have you in your past done with the running game?
Yeah, it really does start for us with the run game. You look at our run game numbers over the last 5-6 years. It's phenomenal what we've been able to do on the ground and create explosive plays, chew up yards, and stay out of a bunch of third and long situations. The running back position is one where we've created more depth here from where we were in spring ball. It's a group where I think you'll see multiple guys play a lot of football for us. And I like what the offensive line's done too. And just for us, as an entire program, we got to continue to develop the depth here in the early part of the season, but as we go through the season and continue to develop some young guys inside of our system.
Tennessee Volunteers head coach Josh Heupel joining us here on JMart and Ramon this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Coach, how easy has it been for some of the guys that have been there for a few years to adapt to your system, because it really is such a change in terms of aggression, in terms of pace from what they're used to, and how impressed have you been with how they've been able to adapt to it?
Well, we've put a lot of effort into that and learn how to play, during the course of play from the snap and until the whistle's blown. But for us to run efficiently and effectively, there's a lot of nuances once the previous play is over, how we have to operate. I thought we made great strides during the course of spring ball, but we have continued to get better at that. You look at some of the new guys that we brought in during the course of the summer, their transition into the system. They've accelerated their growth pattern here the last half of training camp. Even a young guy like Jalen Hyatt that was out for a certain portion of spring ball, his growth and development here during training camp has been really fun to see. And I think we're in a really good spot. It'll be different playing in that stadium with live bullets there on the other side of the line of scrimmage. But at some point, you got to go play a game and see where you're at. But I am really excited about what they've done in trying to grasp what we do.
Coach, what we all know is usually camp sucks. Like, it really does. Like, all of the stuff that you got to go through in camp, no matter how much team building you had in the spring and in the summer, when you get to camp, it's hard. What have you learned about your guys and putting them through the rigors of day-to-day camp and one-on-ones against each other and just the competition aspect of this team?
Yeah, and we've learned a lot about our football team as we've gone through it. You've heard me say the word accountability quite a bit since I've gotten here, and it's true that our kids clearly understand what the expectations are on and off the field here what a Tennessee Volunteer looks like. They've really started to rally around that. There's inside of the locker room, I think there's some ownership of it and some peer pressure to do things the right way. You were talking about adversity here just a minute ago, and that to me is what you try to manufacture during training camp a little bit, but it's really hard to replicate what's truly going to happen during the season. I think it's one of the things that we talk about a lot here during the course of summer and during training camp. You try to find windows of opportunity in competitive situations to replicate some of those things. But excited to see, how we handle it next Thursday night. At some point, during the course of play, there's always a bad play here, bad play there that you got to respond to. And we got to come together during those moments, not disintegrate.
Coach, was there a moment where you felt like the team really bought into you that's happened over this last few weeks or this last month or so, where maybe guys that were a little skeptical or a little on the fence have really bought in and you feel like are certainly ready to contribute for this program?
Yeah, I don't know if there's one moment during the course of training camp where I felt that. To be honest, I really feel like where we finished spring ball and where we got to, in the middle part of summer was a change inside of our program. There was a lot of buy-in right away. I think, kids today are certainly going to take the approach of sit back, watch, and see if you're going to be consistent in your messaging, but then also in your actions and how you handle positive situations, how you handle negative situations. I think our players have great trust in what we're doing as a program, as a coaching staff, and how we're going to approach every single day, the consistency and the manner in which we're going to do things, and believe in the process that we're going through. And proud of what we've done. Never satisfied as a coach, but excited to get to go chance to play ball with these guys next Thursday.
Coach, we're going to make it real easy for you on the way out here. Who's going to play starting quarterback for you next week?
Yeah. Hey, we're excited to get out there and go play. I know Vol Nation's excited to watch us play, and we'll have a guy that will be ready to go play at a really high level next Thursday night.
We don't know what the football's going to look like, but we know what the bob and weave game looks like. It's pretty solid, Coach.
Yeah, it is.
Guys, I appreciate it. Always love being on the show.
That was Josh Heupel with us very early this morning at 6:05. Josh Heupel, one thing that I see this sort of see this popping up in the chat. Boy, he sounds not excited at all, blah, 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 blah. That's just him. In terms of the way he talks, when we stood there and talked to him the day of the orange and white game, he sounded exactly the same. I'm not necessarily excusing anything. I'm just saying he's just kind of, it's a very even tone.
Yeah.
With him.
Considering what we've had Lane, that was exciting. Then you go to the strict guy and Dooley, rule with an iron fist. And then you go to fun-loving Butch, who's selling you the worst car in the lot, and you still buy it. And we went to Jeremy Pruitt, who was, we don't know what to expect from him. And now you finally get an even-keel guy. And it's like, okay, well, we want something. Well, I'll do better by giving you nothing. It's a wait-and-see process with us still. I've looked at some of the reviews this morning, some of the predictions on the seasons already from people who cover the Vols, and everybody's kind of sitting at the same tone. 6-6, 75, 5-7. That's where you are. So that's the type of tone you get. It's not much to be overly hype about if we're being real right now anyhow, except for if they put up 70 on Bowling Green, that'll be awesome for me so I can just brag about it a little bit, Jay. That's kind of where I sit with it right now. Like, he is who he is. With me, I'm a fun-loving guy. I'm always going to be up for a good time. With him as a head coach, maybe he doesn't show that side because maybe we're not worthy of seeing all that personality, Jay. I don't know.
Well, there's not really – you don't need to show too much of an ebullient personality walking into this situation until you've done something.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing you want to do is go dance, and then it all goes south.
Mm-hmm.
You want to prove something first. Doesn't mean that you want to be dull, boring, depressing, all of that. I don't think he's depressing.
Right.
I just think he is very even-keeled, and he's trying to kind of keep everything very close to the vest. And when it comes to the quarterback thing, it's not like I expected he was going to answer that question.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We still have to ask.
He
that
laughed
question.
about it.
Yeah, he laughed about it because he knows he's going to get asked that every interview he does until he makes the decision. This morning, Texas A&M announced that King is going to be their starting quarterback.
Nice.
So we're getting to the point where everybody's about to be. It's going to be revealed, and it's going to be Joe Milton.
I want to bring up this point real quick. Ramon talking about the amount of points that'll be scored. What I'll be watching more, and yeah, Bowling Green's Bowling Green, and they're terrible, but how many points they're giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just have a lot of concern with that defense.
Anybody that doesn't is kidding themselves.
I said this when we were out at Neyland for the orange and white game. This team's going to put up 30-plus points several times. They might give up a couple 50 burgers.
Ole Miss did.
That's true.
And Ole Miss is in a better situation, I think, than Tennessee is.
It's true.
By far.
But I'll say this. Look what that excitement of that offense has done for not only for their offense and recruiting, but also for the defense. I think they picked up like a big-time 4-star within the last 2 weeks. Ole Miss, that is. They're really cashing in right now off of that excitement of offense.
Oh, the offense will be the excitement.
Yeah.
No question. But in terms of the football, I want to see defensively how they perform.
There's a few guys, though, in this recruiting class coming up for next year, 2022, who still have Tennessee amongst their, like, top 5, top 3. Like I told you, number 1 overall prospect he named Tennessee, Georgia, and Texas A&M as his top 3. Those are the schools he said in the article that he's feeling the most comfortable with. And there's also been other guys you see who are top-rated athletes in this class that say, man, I love what I'm hearing from Tennessee. So the side that he's showing us clearly isn't the side that they're giving off in recruiting. And if for anything, I feel like the kids are going to be the most honest about whatever moving forward anyhow.
Well, I mean, look, coach speak is coach speak for a reason.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin, I've heard more about Mike Tomlin from you over the last year. He's notoriously nothing with the press. I mean, what was it? Levitard used to do segments on radio just mocking coach speak, and it was Mike Tomlin that was front and center every single week, saying nothing, saying the most cliched stuff in the world. If there's one thing that Josh Heupel didn't do, is cliche us to death.
Yeah.
He's not row the boat guy. He's not, PJ Fleck. Right. Certainly not Butch Jones.
Living on Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We perform well in practice this week.
He's just kind of a football coach.
Everyone will get their opportunity.
Even with what Shay's doing, Belichick, like we see how he is with the media. But I've heard from guys that's played there, like he gets after people in the meetings. Like
he gets after him, but he's also apparently a fun dude.
Well,
he's a different guy.
I've been reading Jeff Benedict's book he wrote, The Dynasty, and it's outstanding. Belichick got after Tom Brady harder than anybody.
I've heard that.
And it wasn't brought up in the book, but that's similarly to what Parcells did with Phil Simms.
Mm-hmm. So it's
like, is he Lane Kiffin? No, he's not. The thing about it is, the only reason you want a Lane Kiffin is if Lane Kiffin wins for you.
If he wins.
In this case, that's why Ole Miss wants Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, and by the way,
Lane Kiffin can win for him.
Ryan Day's not the most sparkling personality for Ohio State either.
No.
A phenomenal recruiter, of course, with that institution.
Mm-hmm.
But
you want a Steve Spurrier as long as they win.
That's
but
exactly right.
ultimately, I don't care who you are as long as you win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the Arkansas coach right now. He's kind of quirky or whatever in his interviews, but, it's not over the top.
Chris Peterson with Boise and then Washington. Very thoughtful. Loved his answers. Not the most ebullient personality at all.
Are we going to make fun of him?
Yeah, but we're going to make fun of everybody.
But, I think that's it. It's just like, look, when he starts winning, if he starts winning, then you're not going to care what his personality is or isn't. Mm-hmm. And you will get more of it if he wins. There's no doubt about that.
100%.
I mean, we know that in this industry. Look, when the local team loses, it's a lot harder to get them to answer your phone calls the next day because nobody wants to talk about that. That's why some people don't want to commit to doing, regular hits on radio because they know they're not going undefeated.
Yeah.
And it's those days after games where they've gotten throttled where the last thing they want to do is answer a single question or even go out in public.
I've been there.
Yeah, you could speak. I mean, I'm speaking of it from the media side, but you were there for 11 years.
When you guys started 0-4?
Yeah. And I had a show then in Pittsburgh, and it was like, man, this is the worst.
I did a player show with Chris Hope and Chris Brown, and it wasn't great at times when the Titans weren't playing well. And when you have a 4-12, 5-11 season, what do you talk about? What are you talking about?
How we gonna get better and you know you suck?
Right. I mean, that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, because the only thing you can say is, and you can't even really say it, is, yeah, we got to get better players, and I might not be here next year.
Yeah. Everybody's
whether by choice or not.
Yep.
Other thing to remember about Heupel this morning is it was 7 o'clock where he was.
Yeah, right.
It was 6 where we were.
And he was going to a special teams meeting at 7:20.
He was going immediately to a meeting as soon as he was done. And then he had all sorts of obligations for the rest of the day. Yeah. So it's not like we were catching him at 2 p.m. after lunch and all that kind of stuff.
It wasn't happy hour.
Or it wasn't Danny White. Because he'll give you the show. I like that about him. Let Danny White say all he needs to.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's get Danny White and ask him who QB1 is.
He might tell us.
We already know.
Well, that's Peyton. He'll tell us.
Yeah, we'll get Peyton on.
We'll get Peyton on.
Indeed. We'll finish up the program when we come back. If you want to chime in and haven't had an opportunity yet, 615-737-1045. 737-1045. We'll take a quick look around the NFL, see what headlines are starting to pop this morning when we come back. JMart Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Coming up today on Blaine and Mickey.
Former NFL safety and Sirius XM broadcaster Solomon Wilcox is going to join us in hour 1 to talk NFL.
And Coach Doug Matthews is in studio exactly.
JMart and Ramon putting the finishing touches on 4 hours of radio.
Or pushing them.
What?
Or pushing them too.
I was doing putting and finishing or putting and touches together.
No demerit on that. It happened.
Get the sex right, Shafe.
That's how you got a baby, right?
It is.
That tweet was from earlier in the show. One of the fans sent that.
I think I used that in reference to Moan in birthdays,
Yes.
not knowing.
That's what it was.
Anything.
That'll go up in the yearbook. Get the sex right.
Hey.
If you have a problem with that, we got plenty of great clients you can listen to in the commercial break.
The article we got on Twitter.
Yeah, we do.
Including Hillside Medical Center.
Step your game up. Step your crank up.
What's wrong with y'all, man? Be better,
Look,
man.
The only way a bike stands up is if the kickstand's working, man.
Balls. Jason, it's time for you to
I
go.
just made.
Go get your haircut right
I just
now.
made that one up.
What I love is that Jason reveals himself as the most ratchet at times.
He does. Between his wife listening to trap music, or being a pediatrician, also.
You know, just for fun, how about
Abby dreamed about Slay. Oh. Yesterday morning. Here's what happened. Ron died in her dream.
Oh, now. That wasn't the turn I was looking for. That goes down in JMart Ramon history right there. You want to talk about crashing out.
we have our 1-year anniversary coming up here in a couple of weeks.
We do, man.
Probably going to hear that again.
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Everything I have on file.
Oh, goodness.
Man.
Champions Run Golf Course tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be on site for the 104.5 Zone Golf Classic.
So glad I don't have to see you.
Looking forward to seeing a few people not named Jonathan Schaefer tomorrow.
Thank you for saying it.
I'm just being real.
Hanging out in Rockville. Moan will get another opportunity to send off the golfers in the 8 a.m.
Yeah, we got
You
that.
gotta redeem yourself.
I'm telling you, it's all depending on the crowd. I'm telling you, my trash talk. I know 3HL got trash talk is
Dude, you're
phenomenal.
sending golfers
No,
off. What are you talking
y'all
about?
asked for this. You asked for this, man. Y'all said, Ramon, do better, and I'm gonna give you all the heat that you're looking for. I'm telling you.
I know you're going to do better because it's not physically, emotionally,
golfer-
spiritually possible to do
Only
worse.
time I've seen a golfer get excited is when they make a big shot. Never on the start off. Never on the start off. The tee off, whatever you want to call it. You know, we don't have golf courses in Simple Sumner.
Shut up. We have plenty of good golf courses in Sumner.
I get lessons in Sumner County.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't touch
Yeah,
Sumner
you
County
know what?
earlier.
You know what, Ramon?
That is no,
No,
that was
but
a
you
trap.
lied. You
No,
lied.
That
No.
was a trap.
It's a
because
trap.
Jay said he can't afford to go to Sumner County. Then he just dropped.
No, I
He
can't
gonna
afford
get
to live in it.
lessons.
I can't afford to live in it. I can only drive through it, man. I can't even stop for gas.
Moving
because I know the convenience
goalposts.
store is going to be out of my price range.
I hate all of you right now.
I hate them.
Tomorrow, Jeff Schwartz, Emily Proud.
Speaking of hate with Jeff.
Yeah, hate listen. Jeff Schwartz, Emily Proud. Who else is on tomorrow's show?
Mike Keith.
of course. Get you all set for the final Titans preseason game against Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears.
UB1.
Plus a special celebrity playlist. Again, we'll let you know who that is tomorrow on the show. Hope to see some of you out at the golf course. Buck Rising coming up next. That was safe, by the way, with the raspberry. For Jonathan Schaefer, yep. And Ramon Foster. I suppose I'm Jason Martin. We'll do this all again. Same bad time, same JMart and Ramon channel. Have a wonderful Thursday. Watch them joint practices.
Please remember your Twitter fingers and your mic always hot.
Tots and pears.
Tots and pears.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Watch your favorite 104.5 The Zone shows and interact with other Zone listeners in the chat, live on Twitch and YouTube. It's 104.5 The Zone TV.
This is Boomer and Science with the CBS Sports